Which, again, speaking of not meaning anything, although Billy
So-
Napier saved his job.
It's kind of right.
Kind of, yeah, it's a rivalry week. Hey, hey, which is still November, man, if you're the Ducks. Although I guess the game against UW really doesn't matter because you're in the Big Ten title game anyway, and you win that, you get a bye. So,
They should lay down.
well, I did hear some people that were like, should you rest people? I don't think that's going to happen, but,
Well, I mean, you don't want. I mean, does Jordan Birch play if he's ready to play?
I'll say this. If you have a guy that's on the fence, you sit his ass because, like, one, UW's not very good. And two, outside of pride and the undefeated, like the idea that, it's cool to be undefeated, this game has zero meaning for Oregon. It has no basis on what happens in the Big Ten title game. It has no basis on whether you get a bye into the first round or not. You're in the college football playoff no matter what. And if you lose this, win this, the Big Ten title game determines whether or not you get a bye. So, yeah, I mean, I'll just say this. You maybe play it a little closer to your chest. And, like, if Tez isn't 100%, if Birch isn't 100%, no, I wouldn't rush those guys back. I would sit them and wait for Ohio State. But you can't. But it's UW. Screw those guys.
I just feel like we've got a lot of sports going on right now.
Yeah,
very sportsy.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm comfortable with that.
Then I got Dan Hurley freaking out. I mean, there's a lot.
What did he do? I know they lost.
Oh, well,
did he freak out?
Yeah, there was a.
Did he go all Kenny Dillingham?
Dude, he went double dilly. Yeah, there was an over the back call, which was an over the back call, and he got thrown out because he had an absolute hissy fit.
Yeah.
I mean,
those coaches.
Oh God,
especially college basketball. We talk about the a-hole football coaches.
Yeah.
How about the college basketball coaches?
Oh, good Lord. Well, they've been that way forever. Worse. Yeah. I mean, college basketball.
Well, I think football has too. It's just.
Yeah. Well, Woody Hayes did punch people.
Well, college football or basketball, they're allowed to get away with more.
That's true.
I don't know why, but they are.
Yeah, I've never Bob Knight was like lauded and he was throwing stuff on a court. I've never seen like. Well, again, I can't say Woody Hayes punched a guy.
Yeah.
But I've never seen Urban Meyer.
Rare.
I've never seen Urban Meyer pick up a trash can and fling it out on the field. Although I will say that while I still enjoy what Kenny Dillingham is bringing to the table.
Dilly.
Can I say
what a win?
And this has nothing to do with the fact that they beat BYU. I thought they were going to beat BYU. They should have beat BYU. They were better.
Okay.
Boy, his little fat cherub hissy fits are starting to kind of wear thin, and that I understand. I think it's cool that he's young and that he's energetic and part of that fan base. He's starting to not feel like a coach, and he's starting to feel like a fanboy, and like that. I don't know. Still very cool what he's doing down there. The last couple weeks, some of that stuff's riding a fine line, and I think with the wife on the sidelines and losing it over the 1 second, which by the way was the correct call, I think he kind of looks like a bitch.
Well, okay, so you have got.
Now we're down.
Now here we go.
Whiny bitch.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Look for porn, Dan.
Whoa,
Porn.
I don't think he was doing that.
Was
He's a
misfire.
bitch.
By the way, Buckley sounded better today.
Yeah, your cat aid seems to have cleared up.
Better, not perfect, but better.
Yeah, not perfect.
Good for you, brother.
As you know, we had an A day on Saturday.
Yes.
And Arizona State was a big part of my portfolio that I had out there.
Yeah.
And so watching the second half of that game, we determined, because I was with a friend who also had Arizona State, and of course, you watch a game differently when you've got money riding on it.
Absolutely.
And
you thought there were players hedging, don't you, or shaving?
No. I just thought that Kenny Dillingham, for the first time, I thought Kenny Dillingham showed how young he is and how much he has to learn.
Yes.
Very good coach. There's no question about that. He's the youngest coach in college football.
He's done a great job.
34 years old. But boy, count the ways they tried to gack that game. He made some horrible decisions.
Yeah.
And then after all of that, they should have won that game going away.
Hands down.
And they absolutely tried to let BYU win. Yeah. And there are a lot of ways, as we've talked many times here over the years about, there are a lot of ways, you learn how to close out games. Dan Lanning has gone through a little bit of this as a head coach. But Dillingham, for him to go ape bleep over the 1 second shows a lot of immaturity because, first of all, you can't control that.
No.
Second, they reviewed it. So what do you? I mean,
And it was the correct call.
yeah. So the only reason you're upset is that you have tried every which way to blow this game, and you now have to defend a Hail Mary, and you're terrified of doing that.
Yeah.
And they got lucky because BYU got the Hail Mary. It was just at the 2-yard line and not in the end zone.
And had they gotten the 15-yard unsportsmanlike, which a lot of kind of felt like you should probably get that, and who knows, whether or not 15 yards closer, it's a completely different play. But I was kind of sitting there thinking to myself that same thing. I mean, clearly it was 1 second, and he literally was melting down.
Yeah, he was going crazy.
And
And the fans were all on the field and everything. But that, again, they did the right thing in the game.
Yes.
You got to focus on what you can control. That he could not control that. And for him to flip about that, I think that just shows how much he has to learn as a coach.
And like I said, it's the last couple weeks. It's a fine line between I really enjoy Kenny Dillingham, and there's a youthful exuberance, but you can't be you can't be a fan.
Well, he
He's
needs
got a
to
dog mentality.
he needs to polish up. But some of that is just his personality. I just thought he did a very poor job coaching the game in the second half, and that hopefully he learned from that.
If you just score, that game's over.
Well,
you don't have to run backwards 49 yards.
I think they were up 28-9. I think it was 28-9, but he elected to try to punch it in on like 4th and goal from I think the 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And they already had a 3-score lead.
Yeah.
Just kick the damn field goal, dude.
I mean, to Sook's point, like that running backwards in that way
that was
was
dumb.
wild.
It
That was
was-
some backyard crap.
Yeah.
It was just weird. I mean, I sat there and I was watching it, and we had no business being in that game. Arizona State was just better. And
They threw the pick too.
Oh God, the Retzlaff pick. I mean, look, that thing was just, even after the game, Kalani Sitake was like, I don't know. Was that underthrown, overthrown? It looked like it went right to him. Even our coach is like, it's just bad. But to be there at the end with that 1 second as that ball went up in the air, I thought to myself, God, if they lose this is Mario Cristobal type stuff.
Oh, yeah, it was.
You know,
and
just-
Dillingham knew it.
Yeah.
And that's why he was so hot. So going and winning a game is different than holding on and trying not to lose a game.
Yeah.
In Arizona State, you could tell they hadn't been in that spot very often. Kenny Dillingham's a young
white
coach.
knuckle.
It's a huge game. Tempe's going crazy. The fans are flooding the field. They were white knuckling that thing all the way to the end. So maybe they learn from it and get better. But that was a good game. But we're burying the lead, Jace.
What do we got? What do we got?
Rock Chalk wins again.
Hey!
3 in a row.
And by the way, like in dominating
wasn't
fashion,
even close.
it wasn't even close.
We owned
Yes.
Colorado.
You owned
through that bull junkie road.
You owned Prime. You bitch slapped him.
Yeah, we bitch slapped
I
them.
was listening to
Did you like those unis?
I like what Kansas has going on.
They went
period.
red pants.
Yeah. I really enjoy what Kansas brings. And I'm not an Adidas guy.
I'm not either.
I kind of find Adidas to be an abomination, but Kansas stuff always looks good. It's like the one school that they outfit that I actually
agree.
think looks pretty
I
sharp.
think they do a pretty good job.
What was I saying?
But they should be Nike.
They should be. What was I saying about Kansas, Colorado?
Well, we dominated them.
I don't remember. I don't remember who it was. It might have been the Ringer or Clat. I listen to a lot of kind of wrap ups. I like.
You love your post game shows.
I do. I like hearing a lot of different opinions. I like hearing from different people. And fun little stat here. If you took Kansas, because Kansas is what now? 4-win team.
No, we're 5-6.
5-6.
Playing
okay.
for a shot at a bowl this week at Baylor.
5-6. I believe.
Going to Waco.
I believe that if you ended the stat was if you ended every game at the 2-minute mark.
Yeah.
Kansas.
Yeah.
They're 9-2.
Yes.
So just be careful with anyone thinking that Kansas beating BYU and Colorado is some sort of
No one thinks that.
Kansas is
Because
a good team.
They were picked atop the Big 12 at the start of the
for
year.
a reason.
And the reality is they're that team.
Yeah.
It's just they lost several, like 5 in a row.
Yeah.
They
One
lost.
score.
They gacked
Yep.
really close games. So it just is what it is.
That was a fun game to watch, and I kind of sat there and was like, "Boy, is Colorado going to make a game of this?" And not really. Kansas was just better.
Well, I think we're one of the better teams in the Big 12 right now.
Yeah.
The problem is that here's what's interesting about the Big 12. We're just launching right into sports talk.
I know. Well,
today.
there's so, but then
It's a short week.
You called it.
It's a short week.
On paper, that was not a great week of college football.
No.
It was not. And we say it all the time. The witches of November have a way of coming up on people. And you said it. You said, I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a weird week.
Yep.
And 7 of the top 25, including some just like Colorado and BYU losing, those aren't huge upsets.
In fact, those were like 3-point spreads.
But I'll tell you what, Alabama, who at times has looked like the best teams in the country,
Alabama.
essing the bed against a bad, and I'm going to call Oklahoma is a bad football
They're
team.
horrible.
Wait a minute.
They're bad.
Okay. Yeah. Hold on.
That is like a what the F.
Yeah. Okay. But
that-
we got a whole
that-
show here.
that-
Look, here's what I'm saying about the Big 12. Okay.
It's the Big 12.
The Big 12 has 4
It's
teams.
Division I football.
The Big 12 has 4 teams tied at 6-2
Yes.
on top of the league. Okay. 4 going into the final week.
Mm-hmm.
There are 5 more teams that are 5-3.
Yeah.
Just 1 game behind.
9 teams still alive.
It is possible that we have an 8-way tie atop the Big 12 next week. And I would also like to report to you, the reason I tell you this is because I think maybe the best team in the league isn't even among them.
And that being
Kansas.
Rock Chalk.
How about that?
I wanted you to give it to me. Give me your little Rock Chalk.
I gave it to you.
Well, Arizona State controls their own fate. They win and they're in. And everyone else needs some sort of something. We need some, they need some help. So if all the 6-2 teams, if 2 of those 3 lose, then BYU gets to get a rematch against Arizona State.
Yeah.
Considering if we beat Houston. So there's just so many scenarios. In fact, I believe there is a scenario where Kansas State and Texas Tech play.
Really?
There's 9 teams still. Now,
Yeah.
it won't happen.
Like I said, there could be an 8-way tie.
Yes. Chances are, I mean, it's, again, I can't even say chances are, but more than likely,
Chances
Arizona State gets
are.
one of BYU, Iowa State, Colorado, the most likely being Iowa State.
Yeah.
But we shall see.
All right. Listen, we have a short week of radio broadcasts this
So
week.
we have to cram in radio excellence.
Yeah, no Thursday show because it's Thanksgiving, and no Friday show because we refuse to work on the day after Thanksgiving. Therefore, we have today, a little bit of tomorrow, and a little bit of Wednesday.
Can I point out one of the great shows that we have ever mailed in is it was a day after Thanksgiving show. We were doing the Civil War, and all 3 of us came in from out of town. The amount of hungover that this show was.
I think that was a Labor Day show.
No, that was the day after Thanksgiving.
Are you sure?
Yes, because I drove back from Skimania. And then after the show, I went back to Skimania to meet my family. And the 3 of us rolling in, there has never been a more hungover show. Maybe that show in Ireland. Remember the McAfee show when they went over there this year?
Oh, he was drunk.
Yes.
Full on.
We all just rolled in looking like just death. It was you, me, and Dusty. And we're like, where's sports? Great idea, day after Thanksgiving, to have us come in and do a show.
So tomorrow and Wednesday, we have Ducks basketball during the day
Mhm.
because they're playing out I think they're in Vegas. Are they in Vegas? Where are they?
Good question.
I think they're in Vegas.
A lot of tourneys going on right now.
Yeah. And that's how you know it's Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Is that you have wall-to-wall college basketball early in the week
Yes.
and during the day.
Mhm.
And I love that. Kansas Duke tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah. Well, again, that Memphis UConn one was bananas today.
But Oregon's playing A&M tomorrow, and then San Diego State on Wednesday. So we have somewhat abbreviated broadcasts each of the next 2 days after today.
Yes.
Vegas
So-
confirmed, by the way.
They're in Vegas. What's the tournament?
It is called the Players Era Festival Power Tournament.
Yes. And it's at the MGM
That might
Garden.
be the worst
is
name
this,
I've ever heard.
Is this the one they're doing for NIL? Like,
Oh, everyone gets paid?
yeah,
I don't know.
Isn't that what that is?
That might be. Yeah, there was some tournaments where there was going to be cash on the line.
Well, anyway, we got to get to going,
We are going to get to
and we already have gotten to going.
Yeah, by the way, that you are correct.
So everybody gets paid.
Yeah, this is the organizers betting big that NIL is the future of college tournaments. So yeah,
What does that even mean?
it means that there's money on the line. We're going to try to get people to care about early season games by paying people. Seems to be the
And you get
general
more if
case.
you win?
Yes.
I mean, I got to say, as like just a casual fan, if you tell me there's a stack of cash waiting for the player on the other
Yeah.
side of that victory,
Yeah.
I'm kind of in.
There
100%.
there is a minimum of 1 million guaranteed NIL money that will go to each of the 8 teams competing. And then yes, that's
They each get a milli?
everyone the teams
Yeah, I
get
know,
a
they
get a
split it, but-
guaranteed mill.
But then the
Still.
better you do,
And
the
then
higher
better
that
you
goes.
do, the more you get.
I like it.
Wow.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I'm going to do some real quick math, guys. Hold on.
Yes. says that they did not disclose financial details, but said the event will come close to breaking. Yeah, blah blah blah. Anyway, yeah, there's money, but they're
That's basically
they're being all coy about it.
if the coaches don't collect, which I'm sure they don't, or did the schools? I'm sure the schools take a piece. But if you paid $1 million to every player, what do they have, like 15 kids or whatever?
Yeah.
It's like $67,000 a kid.
That's tasty, brother.
Well, yeah.
And the champion, because they're not doing a detailed breakdown of what it is, but everyone's guaranteed $1 million, and the champion will pocket an extra $1.5 million.
So yeah, I mean, hell, they may play harder for this in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, well, I mean, there's more money involved.
My God.
Tell you what, if you want, we say this about the All-Star game, and those you'd have to make it a lot of money. You want kids to play hard at a tournament? Put $1.5 million on the line. Dude, having played in 3 meaningless bowl games and not giving a rip about each one and losing them, I promise you, if you put some money, if there was $67,000 on the line at the AXA Equitable Liberty Bowl, you might have gotten a little bit of a better effort out of old number 68 here.
All right, let's get going. Poll question, college football, and our college football nut punch coming up on the Fan.
Seahawks with Isaac and Sue
Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
on 1080 The Fan.
All right, let's get to our poll question today. It is, as always, on X at 1080 The Fan. First, wrapping up last week's poll on Friday. Boy, you guys were so wrong. Here's what we asked. Who pulls it off this weekend?
I was close.
Indiana over Ohio State, 41%. Wrong. Army over Notre Dame, 28%. Wrong. Florida over Ole Miss, only 16%. Wrong. Wait, well, 16% were right.
Yeah.
And then Minnesota
So close.
over Penn State, 15%.
1 point. One
Yeah.
point.
That game, you
My
know,
Gophers couldn't
well,
pull it off.
we'll get to that in a sec. Okay, here's today's poll question. We'd like you to vote, and please, for the love of Pete, vote hard.
Please.
Which of the odds-on favorites is the best bet right now to win the college football playoff?
What?
Ohio State is plus 250.
Yeah.
Georgia is plus 350. Oregon is plus 400. Or Texas, which is plus 450. Now, what the plus number means, if you're not a gambler, you bet $100, you will win $250 on Ohio State, $350 on Georgia, $400 on Oregon, and $450 on Texas.
By the way, Ewers maybe out a little bit.
Yeah.
He's having an MRI on the ankle.
Yeah.
So
And that's
something
good?
something to keep an eye on. I mean, I don't know. There's
been
some talk that he holds them back and that the offense would be more dynamic with Arch Manning, but I mean, we've seen very little of Arch Manning. Like if Arch Manning didn't have the name, I don't think people would necessarily be saying this.
well, isn't it the fact that Arch can run a little bit?
He can move a little bit. Yeah, he can scoot
I think
around.
that's maybe what. And Ewers has not been that
No,
great lately.
Ewers has not been that good. But Texas has been fine. It's funny that we make Texas out to be a little bit like if you can sleep on a team that's one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country pretty much all year, it does feel like we do that with Texas a little bit. Like they got handled by Georgia. They got pummeled pretty good. But outside of that, I mean, we're nitpicking 31 points. We nitpick 20. We nitpick a lot of what Texas does.
Well, I think with them, it's just that the one really good team that they've played, they kind of got smoked.
A little bit, yeah.
And outside of that, they don't have any huge wins. And Ewers has been kind of shaky. Manning, by the way, you said we haven't seen much of him. He's 61 of 90, 939 yards, 9 tutties, 2 picks.
That's better. That's actually more than I thought.
I'm trying to see how many games he's played.
And
Again, he is just a freshman. but
Exactly. And how many games that he's actually started when Ewers was out this year?
3. It looks like just 3.
3
And then he's
games.
gotten some time in other
some
games
mop-up
too.
time, which I don't really count. So, yeah, it's a weird thing. I'd still say I think the most complete team in the country is Oregon.
Plus 400.
I'm taking the Ducks.
Plus 400,
You
dude.
know, and in Ohio State,
It's a good bet.
the O-line thing still concerns me. I mean, Indiana just wasn't prepared for that game. They haven't played in a meaningful game like that forever. I thought in the first half, obviously they played a very good half and were stalemating Ohio State, but then you had the special teams problems, and from there it just kind of melted down.
They didn't have the horses, did they?
No,
I mean,
they
come on.
don't.
I think they were prepared for the game. I mean, their first drive, they went down and
Yeah, right
scored
down
a
the field,
touchdown,
but they didn't have
and
any
then they
answers.
stopped Ohio State inside the red zone, or like inside the 5, I think, on 4th down. So it looked like Indiana was going to play with them, but it was one of those games where the more you watched it, even though Ohio State, kind of struggled to get their footing early, the more you watch it, the more you're like, oh, yeah, there is a mismatch, and a mismatch of talent.
James and
and
Joe's.
Urban Meyer called it on the pregame. I don't know if you watched any of the big nooner, but he did something that you did back when. Remember when Oregon and Ohio State played in the Rose Bowl, and we were down on the field. This was the first one, the Terrell Pryor one.
Yeah.
We were down on the field, and you were like, "Dude, there is a giant difference between these two teams
Yes.
just by looking at their players as they warm up."
Yes.
Urban Meyer said the same thing about that game. He was like, I looked out here on the field pregame and I went, ooh, Indiana better stay with them early or they could be in trouble. Well, they did stay with them early and they were still in trouble.
Yeah.
So Indiana we knew that. Come on, that was Indiana, as good as they have played, there is a difference in talent to the point that you're just not going to beat Ohio
I
State.
think what
at
was
the
it?
shoe.
4. They don't have a 5-star kid. I think Indiana had 9.
Exactly.
It was like 9 4-star kids, and Ohio State had 62, 63 4 and 5-star kids.
Ohio State's defense is legit, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, they're Rourke. So they went down and scored on the first possession, and we're up 7-0. Nice little drive. They only got 81 yards the rest of the game.
Yeah, and Ohio State's pass rush started to show up finally, and they weren't just getting cooked on the back end when they were trying to bring pressure a la against Oregon. So I believe the defense is taking steps forward. If Ohio State's O-line were intact, I know I keep going back to that, I think I would take Ohio State. I want to see in the Big Ten title game, I want to see that O-line run the ball against Oregon's front. And when
that'll be telling.
When you got 2 All-Americans that are out, and now you have 2 guys that are playing out of position, you're playing basically now a third-string guy that's in there. I think you can get away with it when you're playing Indiana and you're playing some of that. I want to see it against Oregon's front. Now, Penn State's front's pretty good, and Ohio State did a nice job of running the ball, but it wasn't dominant. That was a 20-13 game.
But they've since lost their center.
Yes, I need to see that against Oregon. I need Ohio State to prove to me that they can run the ball, because look at that Indiana game. Yes, it ended up being 38-15, but as you mentioned, that's a 7-7 game, and then you had the special teams, FUBU, where they dropped the ball, and I know it was a little rainy, and then you had the Caleb Downs one where, that reminded me of when Oregon played Boise State, and that those teams were battling, but special teams is, to me, when a lot of times just the athletes show up, because that's usually your backups, and except for the Downs, who's one of the best players in the country, but the rest of those guys are backups, and you just saw it rear its ugly head. And in the span of like just a blink of an eye, 2 special teams plays, and all of a sudden you're down 21-7, and it never felt like Indiana was in the game. And so as good as Ohio State looked in that, I thought that Indiana did a nice job early on of containing them.
Yeah, it was interesting to me to see all the post-game praise for Ohio State.
Yeah.
Because if you really watch that game, it wasn't that dominant.
No.
Certainly in the first half.
No.
They just have better athletes, and they knew it.
But like Trayvon,
they knew that the whole time.
Yeah, Trayvon Henderson had 9 carries for 68 yards. Now, one of those was a 39-yarder, and obviously give credit to breaking that run. But even with the 39er mixed in there, he had 68 yards rushing. And then Judkins, the other guy, he went for 14 for 36. That's 2.6 yards a carry. And against Oregon, I'm not certain that right there is going to get it done against a Ducks team. So in the rematch, at the first one, I took Ohio State. I said I think Ohio State beats them in a close one at Autzen Stadium. But with this version and that O-line and that run game, I'm going to still take Oregon. I think Oregon is a more complete team right now because of injuries with Ohio State.
Yeah, I think the world is going to be on the Buckeyes.
Yeah.
If they lace them up. Ohio State just needs to beat Michigan, and if they do, they are in the Big Ten title game against Oregon. But to me, on the poll question, there are 2 bets there. I don't love Texas. I don't trust Sark as good as they could be. And you mentioned yours is now hurt. Georgia is too shaky for me to bet at plus 350, even though they're loaded with talent, but they have just not played that great. Even on defense, like freaking UMass rushed for 225 yards against them.
Yeah, that's not great.
UMass! Dude, can I explain to you how bad UMass is? And look, I get it. Maybe Georgia didn't even show up to the game. It's one that they can sleepwalk through. Yeah. But usually they stomp a mud hole in teams like that. Yeah. And they just have not looked the same this year. Georgia, so I saw the stat that said that the best record in college football since 2020 is Georgia at 58-6.
Yeah.
You know who has the worst record? UMass.
Did you know
7-43.
Did you know that UMass has played more teams with winning records in the SEC than Texas has?
Doesn't surprise me.
They've played 2. Texas has played 1.
I love that.
Doesn't surprise me.
That's fantastic.
So but anyway, Georgia ended up winning by almost 40.
Sure.
But there was one of those games you kept looking at the score going, what the hell?
Yeah.
So I don't trust Georgia this year. Ohio State plus 250 or Oregon plus 400. That is where the money is. And you're right. When we see the Big Ten championship game, when those 2 line up, most likely
I'll see it.
That you're gonna that will tell you exactly who your money should be on.
Yeah.
Probably. Most likely.
Yeah, and I'm
And strange things can happen.
Yeah, I'm just excited for it. I think that I think we discount O lines way too much, and I know I'm an old O lineman, but
Homer.
just far too often we sit here and we make a big deal about wide receivers and quarterback play and all that, and just a lot of times it just there's a reason why Georgia and Bama and these teams like this win national titles, and it's because of the big boys up front.
Do you, if I gave you Oregon, Ohio State, or the field,
I'll take Oregon and Ohio State.
one of those two wins
I'll
the
take
title?
one of those two will win the title.
All right, vote hard. On X at 1080 The Fan, which of the odds-on favorites is the best bet right now to win the college football playoff? Ohio State plus 250, Georgia plus 350, Oregon plus 400, or Texas plus 450. In a shocking turn of events, Oregon is hammering the poll at this point, leading with a lot of votes over. Actually, second right now is just Ohio State.
Does make
22%.
sense. Yeah.
Our college football nut punch is next. Shake Up City over the weekend. But first, Buck with SportsCenter.
Bud Light presents a rivalry week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a SportsCenter update on 1080 The Fan.
Brought to you by Reynolds Defense Firm. If you've been arrested for DUI, you need a team of attorneys that you can put your trust into. Call Reynolds Defense Firm today online at reynoldsdefensefirm.com. First on the Fan, Week 12 in the NFL, wrapping up with the Ravens visiting the Chargers on Monday Night Football as the Harbaugh brothers go head-to-head. Kickoff at 5:15 on ABC and ESPN. Ravens 2.5-point road favorites. In Las Vegas, quarterback Gardner Minshew done for the season after breaking his collarbone in Sunday's loss to the Broncos. Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham also done for the season with a torn triceps he sustained in Sunday night's win over the Rams. Former Giants quarterback Daniel Jones has cleared waivers and is now an unrestricted free agent. Potential contenders interested in his services as a backup include the Minnesota Vikings and the Ravens. The Blazers are back on the hardwood tonight. They're in Memphis taking on the Grizzlies. Portland will be without Matisse Thybulle and Donovan Clingan, who are both out. Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Chris Murray, all game-time decisions for Portland. Tip-off is at 5 o'clock. The Blazers are favored by 1.5 on the road. And an upset in Maui today as the unranked Memphis Tigers beat number 2 UConn in overtime, 99-97. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
The home of Primetime with Isaac and Sue. Weekdays 3 to 7, 1080 The Fan.
In the dynamic world of
Primetime with Isaac and Sue
Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
on 1080 The Fan.
Well, the Witches of November are undefeated.
Well, I'll tell you what, they came for the SEC.
Yeah.
And I'm the first one on here. I defend the SEC. I think, everyone always loves to bitch and moan about them. Proof's in the pudding. They do it year in and year out. It's the best conference. They put the most players in the NFL. I mean, it's just sour grapes for people to bitch about them. But you got to call it like it is. And when you go out and collectively S the bed the way the SEC did, shut up. Like, I don't want to hear about the depth of your conference. I don't want to hear about how, the bottom of your conference is tougher than the bottom of the Big 10 or the Big 12. I don't care. When you lose, and you lose spectacularly to bad teams, that's on you. You have some of those teams have everything in front of them. It's laid out before you. And I get it. Alabama, if you put Alabama on the field with Indiana, I'm probably picking Alabama. But it doesn't matter, because when you get your asses whipped by a bad Oklahoma team, and let's call it like it is, Oklahoma is a bad football team. They completed 9 passes for 68 yards, and they drubbed you. I don't want to hear it. You are out of it. You're done, finished, because you do not deserve a spot at the table.
Well, they Ole Miss. They lost. Ole Miss lost.
Yep.
Alabama lost.
Yep. Convincingly.
And somebody else lost. Who's the other one?
Who's the other one that went down in the
Bloop,
SEC?
bloop, bloop,
Hold on. Now
I thought a third one went
Now I
down.
got to pull it up.
Maybe I'm wrong.
A third one did go down. They lost to Auburn.
A&M.
A&M.
But they still have a shot because
Yes. If they beat Texas, they're actually
they're in the SEC
in
title
the SEC title
So
game.
basically, as it stands now, Georgia, because all those teams lost, Georgia is actually in the SEC title game.
Yes, they're guaranteed.
So they're
Because
in.
their conference schedule is done.
Yeah, so they're in, and they will play the winner of Texas A&M, which is this weekend, which is great because that's a rivalry game that's finally being renewed, and there's a lot on the line. I mean, that's good stuff there.
That means something.
So, the most shocking team still alive in the SEC, and granted, it's a long shot, but it's South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was reading today, they actually have a shot.
Yeah.
Even with 3 losses. But yeah, the SEC losses over the weekend now means that 2 ACC teams could get in.
Yeah.
So if SMU and Miami, say, play in the SEC championship game, or SMU Clemson, those 2 could both get in now.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
it was a big it was a big shakeup. It was 7 of the top 17 teams in the country lost.
Yeah.
3 of those were from the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
And what's amazing about it is Indiana lost, and actually they got smoked, and their playoff odds improved because of everything that happened behind them.
The biggest benefactor to this whole thing is probably Indiana.
And the ACC.
Yeah, in the ACC. But if you're Indiana and you're sitting there and you get drubbed by Ohio State, you're probably sitting there being like, oh my God, like, is anyone going to take us seriously, or some of these 2-loss teams gonna bump us out? And meanwhile, the SEC is like, nah, here you go. I mean, Indiana, as long as they beat Purdue, is essentially in. There is no more ifs, ands, or buts about it. And this is why I say I'll sit here and listen to the argument all day that Ole Miss and Alabama are better than Indiana. Oh, well, you didn't prove it. You lost to bad teams.
Well,
you lost to sub-500 football teams. It's on you.
I agree with that. I think the question is it SEC depth, or is it that the top teams aren't quite as good this year?
Both. Because, yes. With the Pac-12, someone even on the text line even said, "Oh, when this happens in the Pac-10, we call it cannibalization, and when it's in the SEC, it's depth." 2 things can be true. Yes, when you play more conference games, it's tough. It's tough to win on the road. Period. I don't care who you are. We got to get over this. It's tough to beat good teams on the road. It's just tough to win on the road. Period. Oregon and Wisconsin, for example. Oregon's a way better team than Wisconsin. It's tough to win on the road when you play 8 straight weeks. And then you have to go a long road trip and play in a hostile environment. But I think there's a difference when you're in the SEC or in a better conference. In some years, the Pac-12 and the Big Ten would apply to this. Florida is not a good team. Oklahoma is not a good team. Okay, no one can convince me that those are not definitive statements. But from a talent standpoint, Oklahoma and Florida are top 20 recruiters. Florida's probably a top 12 or 13 recruiter. There are better athletes, as opposed to when you're getting ready to play Northwestern or you're getting ready to play, I don't know, Arizona on a random year and some of the Pac-12 teams. So from that standpoint, yes, it's more challenging to play in the SEC because even when you're having a bad year, Oklahoma and Florida have better athletes, but it still gives me no excuse for losing to a bad football team. Is it harder to win in the SEC and the bottom half than it is the Pac-12? Yes, I'll go to my grave saying that because, again, talent. But you still have no reason, no excuse to lose to a bad football team. Ole Miss and Alabama, I thought you could make an argument were playing as good as anyone in the country. And when you got into a playoff, you did not want to play either one of those teams. And both of them lost to bad football teams, and both of them lost definitively to bad football teams. Alabama being maybe the ugliest game I've seen Alabama play
that was
in
wild.
forever.
That's their largest loss to an unranked team since 1998.
It's shocking. It's shocking. And Milroe, who it felt like he had figured some stuff out, and they're like, okay, we're using your legs. We're not going to make you a pocket quarterback anymore. I mean, I'm just joking, but like my first thought when he threw a couple of his interceptions were, dude, is that dude on the take? And I'm merely just joking, but
or is he?
I just those interceptions are the two of them both out on little, basically one was on a little screen pass and the other one was like on a little 5-yard out. I mean that is like if an 8th grader threw those picks, I'd be like, dude, what are you doing? And I know on the one, the guy jumped the route. And you're like, well, the receiver has to make the block. It's 3-on-2. You got to throw it out there. He jumped the route before Milroe threw the ball. So as Milroe's getting ready to throw the ball, he's staring at the DB who's already gotten inside his receiver. So unless he's doing Icy's closies and he's doing a Jordan free throw, he's like, hey, watch this. I'm going to throw this out here with my eyes closed. You don't have the ability to, like, you're not watching where you're throwing the ball. I mean,
people have actually had that issue with Dylan Gabriel in the red zone this year. There's a couple times where he has just thrown the ball when a guy has already jumped a route, a receiver's fallen down, but it's inexplicable. It feels like you should be able to just pull the ripcord, and they don't.
I mean, I just sat there and watched Alabama play, and you're like, all right, it's ugly, but they'll get it going. He throws the first pick, and you're like, well, Oklahoma's doing nothing on offense. Yeah, Alabama will be fine, and it wasn't.
They got smoked. Look,
it's hard to process.
I think the difference maybe in the SEC that I'm not sure a lot of conferences can boast, which is why it is sometimes about depth of that league, is they have teams like when you look at Florida and Oklahoma, I'm not convinced that they're bad teams like you're saying, but what they are flawed.
Yeah.
But what they do have is they have talented and good, well-coached defenses. And then when you go on the road in November to their place, God forbid they find something on offense. And Oklahoma kind of did with Jackson Arnold running the ball.
Yeah.
And they haven't done that all year, but now all of a sudden they're kind of starting to figure it out. It's like, that's the one thing I think SEC teams have depth-wise. When you go to the middle of the pack or even towards, I mean, Oklahoma and Florida are not at the bottom of the SEC standings, but you know what I mean? You get to that middle tier or the lower tier, you still have teams that can bite you because they have really talented, well-coached defenses that have been playing well. Like Florida and Oklahoma's defenses are pretty good. Yeah. They just are. They're ranked really well, or they're ranked really high. That has not been their issue, but that's a recipe for losing in November when you have to go on the road and play those. I don't think the Pac-12 ever really had that. I don't think that the ACC has that. I'm kind of going through the teams in my head, and certainly the Big 12 doesn't have that, do they?
No.
I mean, they're just, and those are the teams that are kind of primed to pick off some top teams, even though they may not be even close to the top of the standings. And that's what the SEC has. Which, it's a lot of depth in that way. But it also could be true, I think is what you're saying, is that the top teams in the SEC this year aren't quite as polished and as good as they have been in years past. Yeah. If they were, they would not have 2 and 3 losses.
And I think the transfer portal is a big reason. I think it's thinned a lot of those teams out.
All right, well, let's give credit to one team that did not go down yesterday. Next on the Fan, or Saturday on the Fan.
The home week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue
Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
on 1080 The Fan.
Okay, there was one team yesterday. So we had 7 teams in the top 17 go down and almost an 8th.
Yeah.
But I think that the 8th, say what you will about Penn State and James Franklin,
Yeah.
I think they deserve a lot of credit. Because if you didn't watch that game, they were at Minnesota and they were in a dogfight the whole game, as you said would happen last week.
That was mine. I said if there was going to be a weird upset, I said keep an eye on old Row in the boat.
And Minnesota had the lead at the half, and then you take it all the way down to 6 minutes left. Minnesota, Mr. Row the boat, Mr. Aggressive, PJ Fleck, elects to kick a field goal
Shocking
down
to me.
4.
Yeah.
They were down
Turdville.
26-22. They were at the, the 7 or something.
Like that. They were inside the 10.
And he didn't go for it. He kicked a field goal to go down 26-25. And then what James Franklin did on the last drive was he pulled out his onions like Dan Lanning, and he first of all, he called a fake punt.
Yep.
And they got it, and they converted 2 other 4th and 1 shots. He just went for it.
Yep.
So he went for it 3 times on the last drive, up 1 point.
Never gave him the ball back.
Never gave him the ball back. He got all 3 conversions, including a very ballsy fake punt.
Yeah.
That was, I think, 4th and 7. And this is a guy that gets a lot of flack for not winning the big game, and rightly so. But that is how you win games, Kenny Dillingham. Right there is you put it away. You keep the ball in your hands. You run the plays that you see the looks that you like. You run the plays that you think will work, and you have confidence and balls to go for it on 4th down when the game's on the line. He did it 3 times, and
Crazy.
they won.
Absolutely
and he should be
crazy.
given credit for that.
Yep, including
Because
one of
Fleck did not.
No, he did not. I was shocked that they kicked that. Although I was kind of sitting there because you know me, I'm not a Drew Aller guy. I think Penn State's offense is wake me up. But to me, when Fleck kicked that, I was like, dude, you want to talk about the ultimate sign of disrespect for Penn State's offense? It's like, don't worry, I'm one of the more aggressive coaches in college football, and you ain't doing jack crap against us. So we're gonna kick this, and we'll get it back, and we'll win on a field goal. And I loved as much crap as I give Penn State and James Franklin and Aller and all those guys. I absolutely loved that he had the balls to keep going for it on 4th down and say, we are not putting this in the hands of our defense, and we are not letting Minnesota go down and kick a field goal to beat us.
Got to give him credit.
I all the credit in the world. I don't want to. I don't like Penn State. I can't root for him, but that's
how you win.
That's how you win, and that's how you assure yourself of a spot in the college football playoff. And in a week where so many teams flat out crapped the bed and didn't show up, see Alabama.
Well, Arizona State tried to crap.
Arizona exactly tried, and I loved the fact that Penn State went on the road to not an easy place to play and found themselves in a dogfight and then decided to put it in their own hands. I think that's great.
All right, up next, the Pac-2 trophy has been hoisted.
Yes, it has. Even though, shouldn't that be this week?
Oh, wait.
Well,
no.
They're the 2 teams in the Pac-2.
We'll discuss.
I feel like they should be playing this week.
And the one team playing perhaps the best football in the country, not named Oregon. We'll get to that next on The Fan.
The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with the SportsCenter update. First on the Fan, Week 12 in the NFL wraps up with the Ravens visiting the Chargers on Monday Night Football as the Harbaugh brothers go head-to-head. Kickoff at 5:15 on ABC and ESPN. The Ravens, 2.5-point road favorites. In Las Vegas, quarterback Gardner Minshew out for the season after breaking his collarbone in Sunday's loss to the Broncos. Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham also out for the year with a torn triceps he sustained in Sunday night's win over the Rams. Former Giants quarterback Daniel Jones has cleared waivers and is now an unrestricted free agent. There's potential interest from the Minnesota Vikings and Baltimore Ravens as contenders with interest in him as a backup. The Blazers are in Memphis tonight taking on the Grizzlies. Portland will be without Matisse Thybulle and Donovan Clingan, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Chris Murray, all game-time decisions for Portland. Tip-off is at 5. The Blazers are favored by 1.5 on the road. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Got a smart speaker? It's The Fan in your office and every room of your home. Tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan. Ducks.
Yeah, definitely a team that's capable.
Huskies.
Certainly excited about using this time to really make it a one-game season.
Isaac and Sue.
You will have to take the good and the bad with it, and we already have.
Bud Light presents a rivalry week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus.
Rivalry week with Isaac and Sue on the Odyssey app and 1080.
You're top of your helmet every moment.
The Fan.
Oh, snuck in the every moment in there.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness, I didn't expect that.
Wait, real quick.
Rivalry week.
Rivalry. You saw that Dan Hurley had his meltdown, got kicked out, got the technical.
Well, you mentioned it. I hadn't seen it today, but I just watched the replay. He was mad about the over the back.
Yeah.
And then he got a technical, which allowed Memphis to win the game in overtime.
Yes. So this is...
Yeah, he was going ape. He kept yelling, "You're a joke, you're a joke."
Yeah.
And like any good college basketball, like any hothead college basketball coach, he was all red-faced and had to be held back by his assistant coach. Because if he weren't held back, he would go like suplex them.
That always amazes me. Like, is the coach going to assault the referee? Like, really? Settle down.
These are his quotes, though. So I saw this come across during the break, and I was like, dude, this is amazing.
So UConn lost today to Memphis in overtime.
2 points.
Penny Hardaway, Memphis unranked.
Yeah.
UConn ranked number 4.
Dan Hurley. I don't think it was my technical that cost us the game. I think it was the calls. I would expect to come play in an event, and I don't know how many back-to-back championship teams would get that type of whistle.
Oh. Wow.
He's also aware of how his behavior came off. What I gave the cameras today was Oppenheimer, he said.
What does that mean?
I just nuke, the bomb.
Just blow the whole thing up.
Blow the whole thing up. I just love that he says, it wasn't my technical foul, it was the SE calls.
Well, he's insinuating that just because you've won back-to-back championships, you should get those calls?
Yes. He said, I would expect to come play in this event. I don't know too many back-to-back national champion teams that get that type of whistle.
I hate that.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Why would you insinuate that, you ass?
I just love that. How did my behavior came off? Oh, I'm aware. I gave the camera today an Oppenheimer. God, like
he's awful.
I mean, he's
good coach, but
he's a great coach, obviously. But like, I guess when you win back-to-back championships, you get away with that crap. But if that's just some middle of the road coach, everyone is blasting that guy.
Yeah. See, that's the thing about when you win titles. Like Izzo's the same way.
Yeah.
When you win titles, you get a lot of these guys think you get a license to just
do what you want,
act the way you want, because they're just they
lost,
feel like God.
You lost by 2. You got a technical. Yeah, it probably had a role in it. No, it wasn't my technicals. It was the crappy. And I like that he's just swearing. He's at the
doesn't
reporter.
Care.
He doesn't care.
The question is was it over the back?
Yes, it was.
Because it was certainly close. Like his guy got the rebound and a putback, but they called over the back, so they wiped it. Waved it off.
You can say whether or not that it was like an egregious call, but he reached over the guy. To get the ball.
He certainly did, but it didn't look like much contact. So I don't know. Anyway, we don't need to be debating college basketball calls.
I do enjoy the Oppenheimer thing. We got to use that. What happened? I went home tonight. My wife went all Oppenheimer on me. This is bad. It's good times.
So my Beavers, as predicted by me,
Pac-2
you guys
champions.
all laughed at me. I said there was value on Oregon State plus 12.5.
Yeah.
Well, there was. They win.
Yes.
The Beavers are the Pac-2 champions.
Go Beavers, how about that?
And they have beaten Washington State. Those poor Cougs and their awful defense. I didn't see it, but I can't imagine how bad Washington State's defense must be to allow Oregon State to score 42 points.
When you give up, 41.
Oh, was it 41?
41.
41-38, is that what it was?
41-38. Yeah, that hurts. Giving up 41 points. Oregon State got shut out by Air Force, for God's sakes.
But Branson came back, right?
Branson did come back. And he went 22.
And who can stop him?
24 of 34, 294, 2 touchdowns, 2 tutties. The game was kind of insane. And I'll be honest, it was kind of one of those that I was like checking in on. I was like, oh, what's happening here? And I couldn't believe it. It was kind of a fun game. And you're like, I mean, it didn't really mean a whole lot. Although I guess technically, if Oregon State, it's not technically, if Oregon State beats Boise State, which they won't, they'd go to a bowl. They go to a bowl game.
And it was senior day.
Yeah.
Home game.
Yeah.
So it did mean something. Like somebody texted the Vancouver Fort text line. They said Reeser was packed and full of energy.
Yeah.
All were treated to a very fun game filled with big plays. I thought OSU had won, then lost at least a few times.
Yes.
Saturday night was also a great send-off for the seniors and a positive statement that Beaver fans have pride and still show out for a great environment. I think that's exactly right.
I will all of that, because if a fan base had a reason to quit and just say, you know what, we're not doing this, it would be losing to Nevada, UNLV, Cal, San Jose State, Air Force, and then saying, you know what, we're done.
Yeah, but it's also all the other stuff that's gone on.
Yes.
You know, it's just like they're demoralized anyway, and then you add all those losses, and then here comes Washington State, who has a pretty good record, and it's the other team that got screwed, but they've been able to keep it together, and you're like, screw it.
Yes.
I'm not going.
Kudos.
Yeah.
Kudos to
That's great.
to the big burrito down there and to Oregon State fan. And
let's go. Now, are they claiming a title here? Is that technically a
no? I mean,
they win a title?
Well, no. I mean, they're not in a conference.
Well, yeah, they are. They're in the Pac-2.
No, that's not a recognized conference.
Well, kind of is.
It's not.
Well, I know it's not officially, but there's 2 teams in it, and they won.
Well,
they won the Pac-2 Bowl.
Are they? Someone's saying, "Hang the banner, bitch."
That's right.
I mean,
did they hang banners in football? That's more of a basketball thing.
Yeah. Is there? I don't know. Is there a Pac-2?
What you need is a rivalry trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they have one?
Well, that should be the rivalry game now. I mean,
yeah, it should be.
No offense, but
it's true.
You do not. I mean, I hate, like, if you're Oregon State, you do not want to be judging yourself based on the Civil War every year.
Aren't they playing?
Don't do that to yourself.
They play the Cougs twice next year.
They do play the Cougs twice.
Yeah. What if they split?
Which is the weirdest thing.
You have to play a rubber game at the end of the season.
Yeah, that's true.
We
bowl
go off
game.
points.
Can a conference team play the same conference team in a bowl game?
We need it.
Can we do that?
Oh.
Have them play like in the famous Potato Bowl or whatever, and have Washington State, Oregon State have the rubber match?
It might draw okay, depending on where you put it. Right? December.
Yeah, put it someplace warm.
Put it down in Vegas or Phoenix.
Yeah, don't put it in Idaho.
San Diego.
There you go. You put that in San Diego, you tell the Beavs Cougar fans, you
They'd
split
go.
the 2 games.
Yes.
Hey, we're going to go down there. We're going to have a grand old party. Let's do it.
They would go.
Yeah, I like it.
Plus, I think, isn't Boise State basically playing for a spot in the playoff?
Yes.
With this game against Oregon State?
100%.
Because Tulane is on their heels, and Tulane is 9-2.
Yes.
And Tulane is playing another 9-2 team this week. They're playing Memphis, so it's no lock that Tulane wins. But if they win that game, then they're jumping up. Boise State's got to beat Oregon State.
Boise State does probably have to win this and win the Mountain West title game, which I believe at this point is going to be UNLV, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what's shaking
you know
out
what
here.
The spread is on the Beavs and the Broncos. Do you know what it is?
12
I saw it today.
12.5.
20.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's high.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'll say that's a lot of points, and I get why Oregon State hasn't exactly been gangbusters, but I mean, Boise State eked by Nevada, they eked by Wyoming. It was a close game against San Jose for 3 quarters. Boise State hasn't exactly been blowing the doors off people. So you give me 20 points in the Beavs, I'll take that. You want to give me 20? You want to give me 3?
Well, I'm not an odds maker.
So want to give me 3 tutties? I'll take my Beavs and 3
tutties.
tutties.
3 tutties is 21. The spread is 20. Look at you.
I want the hook.
Angling for the extra point.
It's going to cost you.
I want the hook. I want 20.5.
But I bet Boise gets bet up by a kickoff.
You think so?
Yeah.
It's
Because
already been
everyone thinks that they're playing for style points.
I was looking at all that today. It was started at 18 and now it's up to 20. Like everybody's piling on the Broncos.
Yeah.
But I think, the Beavs, it's hard to know what to make of them. I mean, look, the odds makers are clearly don't like them.
Well, no one did. They lost 5 until
well, I know,
that.
but what I'm saying is like they come out and have that game and beat a pretty good Washington State team.
Yeah.
It's clear that the odds makers are not swayed by that.
No.
They are still
Like, we've seen it.
Yeah, they're like, yeah,
We know what's up.
But I thought that, I mean, against Washington State, a 12 points bet numbers, not teams.
Yeah.
And that number was just insane considering the fact that they're basically a year ago they're basically the same team.
Yeah.
And so in terms of talent, and I know they've had, some injuries at Oregon State and the quarterback situation, but I mean, my God, again, didn't see it. But is Washington State's defense really that bad?
I didn't think so. I mean,
but I mean, oh my God.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. When one of the worst offenses, though, getting
what are you doing?
That's one of the worst offenses that I have seen. Oregon State, just think about this. Over the last month, Oregon State against Cal has put up 7, 13 against San Jose State. And again, I'd like to point this out. Air Force was a 2-loss team. They gave up, they scored 0.
2-win team.
2-win team, yeah. So, I mean,
there's a difference.
They've scored 20 points in the last month. That's not good. It's not good.
Yeah, but
Bob.
Go Branson came back slanging that
Tell
wood.
you what, when that's your savior, you done stepped in it one too many times.
Well,
Hey,
they
go
beat the
Beavs.
Broncos and they go to a bowl.
Yes.
How about that?
Yeah, I like it.
All right.
Genty's banged up. The Beavers are true road warriors. Not really. Go Beavs, getting 20.
The next college football topic we'll have to discuss later, and that is the team not named Oregon that is possibly playing the best football in the country. Not a lot of people are talking about them. We'll have to get to that after a bit. But up next, it's our Stock Watch, what we're buying and selling from the weekend in sports on The Fan.
Check out the Fan Merch Locker.
Here's the situation.
With a new iconic long sleeve.
And you've got the stock market beat. But the man worthwhile is the man who can smile when his shorts are too tight in the seat.
Primetime Stock Watch is brought to you by 1-800-DIVORCE. When you need to take stock of your rights, 1-800-DIVORCE is on your side. Call 1-800-DIVORCE today.
All right, good Monday night game tonight. The Harbaugh Bowl. No
Harbaugh.
The Harbaugh, yes.
There you go.
No Roquan Smith for Baltimore. But right now, let's turn it over to our dear friend, our producer. His name is Ryan Buckley, and he is sounding slightly better
Although
this week.
getting worse.
It gets worse the more I talk.
Yeah.
So here we are.
Got a
He
rough
sounded
voice.
good at the beginning.
I know.
Now, not so much.
Well, let's kick this stock watch off with it's all going to be college football today, by the way. Lots of rivalries on Saturday. One that had no impact on the college football playoff, but may have produced the best moment of the weekend. This is Fernando Mendoza of Cal.
That was an amazing comeback. It's a testament how tough we are as a team. I love my boys. It's amazing. I'm so proud of everyone's team. We're 6-6. We're bowl bound, and we retain the axe. Go Bears forever. Let's go.
You are so emotional right now, Fernando, in this moment. What's bringing out these emotions for you?
We worked so hard. We worked so hard for this. I apologize for getting emotional, but it's so hard. As an offense, we've done everything that we possibly could have throughout the summer to being down, having a close game. This has to be the most special moment in my life to date.
Look around at these fans in this moment. What will you remember most from this victory today?
I remember going 98 yards with my boys. 98 yards at that moment. We told them, this is why we did the camping trip. This is why we did every Saturday walkthrough. This is why we stayed late until 9 p.m. watching film together. And so that meant so much to me to go 98 yards against a defense that's been playing great. And we ended up scoring in the clutch.
That's my God.
Yeah. It was a lot. Buy or sell, 9 p.m. is not late for watching. No, I'm just joking. That's not it. Buy or sell, college football, despite all the NIL, the transferring, has not lost its essence.
Yes. And this is what people need to realize, and I've said this a million times. Like, I played at a school that we weren't playing for national championships. Maybe now under the Big 12, but even, look, they're not playing for national titles. It's not happening. And so for a lot of us, it's the idea that, if you're not Alabama, if you're not Oregon, if you're not Ohio State, you're not Georgia, nothing matters. And that goes to show you. Dude, Cal is 6-5. They're going to go to a meaningless bowl game and go tell anyone on that team that didn't matter. Those kids will remember that forever. For them, that was their Super Bowl. And that is the essence of college football. And so, that kid gets a little money now, right? But no one on that team's making $10 million a year. No one at Cal. Most of the kids are walking away with a really good education from Cal. And it means something. And that trophy means something. That rivalry still means something. So, has college football changed? Yes. Will it continue to change? Absolutely. Is the essence of what make college football great gone? Absolutely not. And that to me is just another example of it. Oh, and by the way, this regular season's maybe been the best regular season of college football we've had in forever. So college football is great.
So Cal, they beat Stanford.
Yes.
They are 6-5.
Bowl eligible.
Going to a bowl.
And then they get to play SMU this week.
Correct.
Yes.
And that's I think SMU's already in the ACC title game. But if you look at their schedule, Cal should have beaten Miami.
Yes.
Who was number 8 at the time. They only lost by 2 to Pitt and 1 to NC State.
Mm-hmm.
You know what their other loss was besides Syracuse? Florida State.
Yikes.
They lost to Florida State.
I'd forgotten that. That's horrible.
What is happening? But, few breaks go their way.
Yeah.
You're looking at a 9-win team right there in Cal.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know everything. What's the
Buy or sell that
the
college football has not lost its essence.
No, of course not. College football is great and will always be great because of the it's the tribalism of the schools and the brands.
Yeah.
Right? It means more. And the other thing is college football has always been the most imbalanced sport. We gripe about this in pro sports. Parity. Well, college football's never had parity.
Never will.
But what it does have, which I think really, really helps it, is schools that are not capable of winning championships every year can still define good seasons by other things, like going to a bowl, like beating your rival on one given Saturday. It's things like that. In pro sports, it's all about championships. What are you doing to drive toward winning a championship, right? That's it. College is different, and that's why it's great, and that will never change. And expanding the playoff to 12 teams makes it even better because it's roped more teams into more meaningful games late in the season. Yeah. This narrative that college football has been neutered or isn't good anymore, or
I don't get it.
It's made up.
Yeah.
The only thing the place it came from was people who were fearful of all the changes that have happened in college football. But that has not happened. It just hasn't. So I don't know where that narrative comes from. It's stupid, and we should put it to bed because it just doesn't exist.
Amen.
Moving over to Norman, Oklahoma for the Alabama-Oklahoma final.
In motion, Sharp, snap, handoff Robinson up the middle, bangs into a man, backs his way across the line, and you can unhitch the wagon. Put the ponies in the barn. Roll around in it, Sooner fans. Snap. Thompson kneels it down, and that'll do it. And here they come. They're not going to keep them off the field in Norman. Oklahoma has upset Alabama, and they have rolled the tide. Final score tonight in Norman. Oklahoma 24 and Alabama 3. The Sooners hold the Crimson Tide without a touchdown for the first time in 13 years.
Buy or sell that taking their third loss of the season before their rivalry game, Kalen DeBoer's first year at Alabama, can be looked at nothing else but an abject failure.
There is no other way. Alabama is talented enough to win a national championship. They are. And some of the losses that they've had, there's no excuse losing to Vanderbilt. The Tennessee game is tough. Tennessee's a solid team. You didn't play very well in that. It's a tough environment going on the road. But all you had to do was beat a sub 500 Oklahoma and a sub 500 Auburn team, and you're in the SEC championship game. And then that kind of almost ensures you have a spot in the college football playoff, where a lot of people thought that if you get there, you're as good as anyone at your best. And so then to come out and lose a game where Oklahoma completed 9 passes, 9. They went 9 of 12 for 68 yards. When a team played an offense from 1984 and your quarterback, supposedly going into the year, your Heisman Trophy level quarterback, threw 2 of the worst interceptions you'll ever see, I don't know how you don't pin this on Caleb DeBoer, because the talent is there, and that is an abomination. And I don't know where Kalen DeBoer goes from here, but everyone at Alabama has every right to be pissed because you didn't lose to better teams. You did not. Tennessee, you lost to a very good team, but you lost to 2 teams that you had no business losing to. And that's on Kalen DeBoer.
Well, I would buy the stock, but I would say with a caveat that Kalen DeBoer is fine. He should just keep cooking. He'll be fine there. But because of expectations at Alabama, yes, it's going to be viewed as a failure. Welcome to what comes with following a legend.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's anybody on earth who doesn't think Nick Saban would have this team in position to make the playoff, even with the transfer shuffling that happened. So that's what happens when you follow a legend. Kalen DeBoer is no Nick Saban. Not many people are. Kalen DeBoer is really good. I think it was a good hire. They should keep, he should just keep, he should press on at Alabama. But yes, if you're asking if it's a failure of a season, it is. And that's simply because they will never alter their expectations post Nick Saban. And this is what comes with that.
Yeah.
Moving on to the desert, Tempe, Arizona for BYU and Arizona State. Was there any time left on the clock?
Dillingham is right in the middle of the whole scrum by the refs, and he's yelling and throwing his hands around at the refs down there. He's actually in their face. Dillingham is throwing a fit down by the replay booth.
He's red-faced and very upset.
He's throwing his hands in his throat. He's saying that it's over. The officials are pushing him back.
And Michael Vanderbilt remains with the headset on at the monitor.
Of garbage. Well, if there's a second, there's a second.
Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 1 second, please. 1 second.
All right, so a second on the clock. And this entire time,
Fans, please return to the stands. Fans, please return to the stands.
Greg, this is a mess.
it's an the entire time, the stream of fans just continues unabated onto the field here.
You've almost got the entire 100 yards of field now covered in yellow fans, just packed almost end zone to end zone.
So we can kill two birds with one stone here. One, buy or sell, college football has a field security problem. And two, buy or sell, that's enough Kenny Dillingham for this season.
Yes and yes. And here's the thing. Like, rushing the field is cool. It is. It's one of the things that makes it unique. But remember at Arizona where we had this?
Triple overtime against Oregon.
You know, you can't keep doing this. At some point, look, Kenny Dillingham or Arizona State should have gotten a 15-yard penalty on
100%.
that. And I can't believe they didn't throw the flag. And if they throw that flag, BYU's putting that ball in the end zone. Now, was it caught? Who knows? They ended up catching the ball at the 3-yard line. The Huck and Hebrew couldn't get it there. You get it 15 yards closer. Like, at some point, the home team, and that's where this happens, has got to do something to ensure the game is over. The officials make the announcement. It's over. Oh, too many times now, like these things, even when you score a touchdown, every play has to be reviewed.
It's over.
We think you have got to be able to keep your composure long enough for someone to announce over the stadium, game's over, everyone cool. At this point, rush the field. Let's have this be a great time, right? And for Dillingham to act the way he did, and I like Kenny Dillingham. I think he's done a great job at ASU, but as I said before, there's a fine line between you being a youthful, energetic coach and you being a fanboy bitch. And to act the way he did on the field, that there is no place for a head coach to do that. Like I get it. You're in your 30s. That's not being a coach. That's not being any coach. I expect better than that from anyone, let alone the head coach. And he's damn lucky that didn't cost his team. That's a learning thing for Kenny Dillingham. Be fun, be the young, youthful, energetic guy that's jumping around with fans. You can't do that. You just can't. That's just a bad look.
So field security issue?
Yeah, buy or sell, we have one in college football.
I don't think they have a field security issue because I'm with Suk. Rushing the field is great, and it should not be. It should not change. I just don't know how you would ever get fans to not rush the field in that kind of scenario where they're basically reviewing whether there was 1 second left on the clock.
I asked that question too, but like it never happens in an NFL game. You have crazy people there, crazy drunk idiots.
They won't let you.
Yeah,
I know. That's what I'm saying. So why can't we in college football?
No. Wait, what? Like
keep people off the field as long as we want to.
Well, in NFL, it's not a thing. I mean, people don't rush.
I know it isn't, but that part of that is because there's no chance in hell you would ever cross those security lines. Yeah. There's one streaker does every now and then,
this is where I disagree with Rob, that if colleges wanted to stop this until they gave the okay,
and that's what I'm saying,
you could.
I say I don't think you can. I think on that specific scenario, good luck. Like, how the hell are you keeping?
I agree, it's an uphill battle.
What?
I agree, it's an uphill battle.
I mean, the clock hits 0. The fans aren't going to stand there and go, "Oh, is it really over? I don't know." Like, you can't.
But this happens.
Either that.
This happens all the time.
Well, but they had to go review to put 1 second back on the clock. There's no way you're going to reason with drunk college fans that can't wait to storm the field about, hey, just hold on for just 6 seconds or 6 minutes while we review this. It's either don't let them rush the field and have barricades in place that they cannot until you open the barricades, or they're going to get on the field in a scenario like this. So I don't think there's a field security problem. I think we're overreacting to one scenario. And quite frankly, it was awesome to watch. It was really fun and entertaining.
Yeah, they got to rush the field twice.
Oh my God, they were all piled on the field and Dillingham's yelling, and it was pandemonium. It was entertaining, so I don't care. And the second thing is, are we done with Dillingham? No, I like Kenny Dillingham.
I was buy or sell. That's enough Kenny Dillingham for this season.
Yeah, no, I sell that. I like him, and I think that he should be given a lot of credit for what they have done this year. That said, he tried every which way to blow that game. They were trying not to lose instead of win. I think that's the first learning moment from a big game at home. Biggest game in Tempe in years.
Yep.
And they absolutely tried to gack that. I think he can learn from that. And the other thing he can learn from, being only 34, he's the youngest coach in college football, is you have to. He showed some flaws, and one of his flaws is he's too much of a hothead, dude. You cannot worry about what the clock says because you have zero control over it.
And by
it's
the way,
one thing if
it
it's
was a right call.
It's one thing if it's a really bad call, and you're arguing that hey maybe you should look at it this way.
It wasn't, and it's black and white.
It's totally black and white. They're gonna review it. So, dude, it just showed a couple of flaws. He's young. I think he'll learn, or hopefully he'll learn. But yes, he is. I like him, and I want more of him. I think I think it's fun for college football, but he looked bad, and he needs to understand better how to control his emotions, especially for things like that he can't even control anyway. So why are you going crazy?
Agreed.
Goofball. Is that it?
That's it.
That's it. That's 4 questions in 3 clips, and we got in the news coming.
Okay.
People need their news.
Yeah, they do. Well, I have a story from Seattle where a kid is stunningly lucky to not be dead.
Oh, boy.
And we will update you on your Thanksgiving week weather. Each Stockwatch, every Monday, brought to you by Goldberg Jones. When it comes to divorce, custody, or child support issues, trust Goldberg Jones to help. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. Phone questions answered at no charge. In the news is next. Here's Buck.
Bud Light presents a rivalry week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this Sports Center update. First on the Fan, Week 12 in the NFL wraps up with the Ravens visiting the Chargers on Monday Night Football as the Harbaugh brothers go head-to-head. Kickoff at 5:15 on ABC and ESPN. The Ravens, 2.5-point road favorites. Former Giants quarterback Daniel Jones has cleared waivers and is now an unrestricted free agent. Reports that the Ravens and Minnesota Vikings could be interested in his services as a backup for the stretch run. The Blazers are in Memphis tonight taking on the Grizzlies. Portland going to be without Matisse Thybulle or Donovan Clingan. Meanwhile, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Chris Murray are all game-time decisions. Tip-offs at 5. The Blazers favored by 1.5 on the road. And an upset on Maui today as the unranked Memphis Tigers take down number 2 UConn in overtime, 99-97 the final. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley at the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
This is your home for year-round NFL coverage. The Odyssey app and 1080 The Fan.
You know, we were talking about storming a field.
Yes.
College football.
Yes.
to let you know that tomorrow we will be on a little bit late as Oregon is taking on Texas A&M here on the Fan. I think the tip is 1:30.
Correct.
Typically those games last a couple hours and you got a little post game. So we'll be on maybe 4-ish, somewhere in there.
Yeah, mid threes. Just tune in and look for some updates.
I wonder if there's a game ahead of it because sometimes those games get pushed. The start gets pushed back too. So we got to monitor.
We will be on.
Yeah, we'll be here.
We will not abandon you, but you know
we may start within the news tomorrow.
think. I love a hot ITN right off the press. Let's go.
It is November 25, 2024. It's time for In the News. I'm your noted newsman. Hello. Thank you. Thank you so much. It is brought to you by the Advocates, injury attorneys at advocateslaw.com.
If you've been mangled in a storm in the field incident, or any incident for that matter.
If you didn't see the Cal guy, he was great.
That was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So
put him on punt coverage.
Some jackass went onto the field after the big game and stole one of the Cal players' helmets.
Yeah.
And my man...
Off the bench, not off the player.
Yeah. Just stole him off the bench. And my man from Cal sprinted and suplexed him. And did you see what the Senior Bowl did?
No.
So the guy, I follow a couple of the guys that run that are in charge of picking the teams for the Reese's Senior Bowl. Biggest... what would you say, like NFL prospect game there is, the most prestigious one. And he put out a thing and he labeled Cal on there and Cal football. And he said, Cal, get a hold of me. That guy has a spot as on the sidelines for the Reese's Senior Bowl.
That's
they want
great.
to invite him down and be one of the equipment managers for the Senior Bowl.
I love that.
Was he an equipment manager? Is
Yeah,
that what he was?
Yeah, that's why he
That
took
was his
exception
whole
to the
job?
helmet theft
Yes.
so severely.
It was his Super Bowl.
Yes.
Finally, someone has stolen something so I can tackle them.
Where do you think you're going with those clubs, punk?
Well, the Oklahoma's best defensive player, Danny Stutzman, did you see someone stole his jersey?
No.
So that was
How?
obviously his senior night. That was his last game ever at Oklahoma at home. They beat Alabama, and some D-list piece of you-know-what stole his jersey after the game.
Like out of the locker room?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, they're on the field and all that, and they took off his pads and they're celebrating. Yeah,
Sure.
someone came along and stole his jersey. Like, it just...
No Tom Brady.
That is just such low-level BS.
7 and 9.
It'll pop up, right? I mean, someone just keep it, or maybe they're keeping it to themselves. I don't know. I feel like that's gonna
Well, you
try to
can't
get
sell
sold.
it,
Yeah.
hopefully. So, I mean, and it's out there, and it got picked up by all the national media, and that was his point was, he goes, dude, bring it back. I'll give you one of my other jerseys. That's my last jersey, and I beat Alabama on senior night, and you went and stole that? People are terrible.
It is Blase Day. Are you feeling blase?
Not really. I'm kind of fired up now.
Neither.
I got some caffeine going through me, maybe some other things. Let's
Feeling
do it.
great. It is also National Parfait Day, so have a parfait.
Boy, I don't have many parfaits.
I don't either.
They're terrible for
What
you,
is the
too.
definition of a parfait?
Layers. So you usually got some yogurt. You got some some fruit compote or something, some granola. It's the
Do you remember the old peanut butter parfait?
Yeah, the peanut butter parfait.
From Dairy Queen?
Yeah. But people now get breakfast parfaits and they're like, oh, I'm eating. No, you're not. Dude, that thing's like 9 million
Parfait.
calories.
It's got yogurt.
Yeah.
And
Defined as a dessert consisting of layers of ice cream, fruit, etc., served in a tall glass.
Yeah, okay.
Except now, I don't think people do it in dessert. I think it's more of like a morning sort of thing.
It can be.
Yeah.
If you
Yogurt.
if you take the ice cream out and put in yogurt and you have nuts and fruit and stuff, then it's a morning thing. Okay, Thanksgiving week. It is here. We have made it. You have made it. I have made it. We've all made it.
Thank you.
So we will eat lots and lots of food.
No turkey at my house, though.
On Thursday. You may be wondering what the weather will be like.
Tell me.
It's pretty good.
Oh, all right.
Not a lot of rain.
Pretty good.
And they're saying some sun, but partly mostly cloudy. Mid to upper 40s.
Partly mostly cloudy?
Well, it's like some days are partly cloudy, some days mostly cloudy. I don't know. You know what I mean? Not that rainy.
So it's
some
all right.
Clouds.
For this time of year, we're doing okay.
Yeah.
We're doing pretty good.
Mid 40s to upper 40s. They're saying Thursday, 47 degrees, mostly cloudy, and only an 8% chance of water.
So I do not have to set up the tent over the grill, is what you're saying.
No, it sounds like you should be good.
All right, it's good.
Now to Seattle, Primetime Seattle. I wanted to play this for you because this is insane. But we have another tree falling on a car. This time a car.
Did it take someone out?
Well, there was a kid in the car. He was in the driver's seat. And if you see the photos of this, he should be dead.
And he's not?
He is not.
New tonight, a UW student is sharing his story after a tree came crashing down on his car while he was driving home. This all happened on Tuesday evening near the intersection of 35th Avenue and 100th, just as the winds in our area was really starting to pick up. King 5's Bridget Chavez has the details.
I can't even believe I walked away from that.
And without a scratch.
In fact, these are the same glasses I was wearing.
Tyson Ramirez was driving home Tuesday night when this tree was uprooted and fell right on top of his car.
I kind of just slumped back in my chair, or in my seat a little bit, bracing for impact, and sure enough, the tree crashed. I tried to open my driver's side door, no use. The tree was totally horizontal on my car, pinning both the driver's side and the passenger side door, and I was stuck.
Ramirez says bystanders came over to check on him and called 911. One of them even took photos for him while they waited for help to arrive.
She said, well, do you want me to take your picture? Because, and her reasoning, she said, well, you might never get to see this angle again. So at first it threw me off, but then she was right. It was really a lot of shock, but also even in the moment, even as I was trapped, a bit of gratefulness.
Ramirez says he was pinned in the car for about 90 minutes before firefighters were able to get him to safety where his parents were waiting.
And once I was pulled out, I gave them the tightest hug. I was so thankful to go home that night.
His mom grateful her son walked away unscathed.
I like happy endings.
Heck, everybody was okay.
A giant hole in crime tape have replaced the giant tree that fell on Ramirez's car. He says he still can't believe it happened.
You see it in TV shows, you see it in movies, but you never expect this to happen in real life.
Calling it nothing short of a miracle.
Whether it be angels, whether it be God, the amazing firefighters at Squad 31, I was really blessed that night.
In Seattle, Bridget Chavez, King 5 News.
Dude, the photos of that
It's unbelievable.
Are insane.
And did you see the one with him in the car?
Yeah.
It's just, it's nuts.
The photo thing, I played that mainly for you because the woman wanted to take a photo of him. I wondered what you thought of that.
You know, of course.
Of course. But,
hey, I know you're almost dead in there, but you want me to take your photo? He's like, yeah, and the mom likes happy endings.
In this instance, he was not hurt. He was just trapped. Yeah. He's really lucky. If you see where the tree landed, I mean, 6 inches the other way, and he's crushed.
If he's in the back seat of his car,
he's dead.
He's dead. Or if he had parked, like you said, 6 to 12 inches further forward, he's dead.
But the photo thing I thought was funny because it's actually a pretty good photo.
He's like doing the peace sign.
Yeah, and he's like, "Hey man," and I love that kid's attitude. He's the most positive, youthful glow kid we've heard in a while, and I think that's great. It's clearly a young man who is yet to be beaten down by life, but I just thought he was wonderful, and he got lucky, and they took a photo of it, and it's a great photo, and it's a wild moment, and it was cool because no one died.
No, that's terrifying. Although I do enjoy God's plan, so
angels,
well,
or the firefighters
of Squad 30, Squad 31.
Look, here's the thing. He gave
what about Tom Cruise?
He did 3 options. He said it might have been the angels, it might have been God, or it might have just been the firefighters.
Possible. What I never understand about the whole God thing is that if God's going to save me miraculously from a tree crushing my car, why doesn't he just stop the tree from falling on me?
Why have it fall at all? Or why not have me a little further ahead in the road? Maybe I parked somewhere else. Any of that?
Either way, God bless the squad. Squad 31 up there in Seattle. And that young man, check your shorts, but I'm with you. That's a great attitude. That's scary as hell.
Meanwhile,
unwelcome sight in the neighborhood. A developer is being greedy.
We've got a tree down in Seattle.
There's a hole in the sky. If someone would have cut down that tree
for a development, we wouldn't have had to deal with this. There's a hole in the sky.
All right, coming up next, a warning if you plan to shop at New Seasons for Thanksgiving goodies. This is In the News on The Fan.
This is The Fan's Window into Sports, a view into today's top stories. Brought to you by Window Nation, online at windownation.com.
The snap. They flip it back to Reed, rolling to his right, throws to the end zone. It's dropped! It's dropped! Auburn wins! Auburn wins! Auburn wins! 43-41! 4 overtimes! Auburn wins!
That's a great call.
Dude, it hit. Did you see it?
No, I missed that.
It hits it right.
So they were up 21-0 and they went to 4 overtimes?
Went to 4 overtimes.
That game was stupid. It was great.
Insane. And on that play, it should have gone to 5. He hits the kid right in the chest.
Just dropped it.
He just dropped it. I feel horrible. But Texas A&M still win against Texas, and they're in the SEC title.
Fans Window into Sports brought to you by Window Nation. 50% off all window styles this month. 0% interest for 60 months. And for our listeners, you get an extra 10% off. Book your estimate by calling 866-90-NATION or visiting windownation.com.
I thought we were playing Capture the Flag.
Shooting from the outer limits and trickle to get the Blazers the lead.
What's the objective now?
It's been a lot of fun seeing Shaden take over games in the fourth quarter. Dirk, this is what you want. I would argue your culture is shaping right in front of your eyes.
Talk about it and get the inside story on your home for all-day Trailblazers coverage. 1080.
There's a lot to be gained from honesty.
The Fan.
Make the most of your holidays with the Fred Meyer app. You can enjoy over $600 in digital coupons every week, get access to low prices, and earn fuel points to save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. The Fred Meyer app makes it easy to save this holiday season. Fred Meyer, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Fuel restrictions apply.
Get a great deal on your Thanksgiving turkey. Fresh grade A Jenny O turkey is just $1.27 a pound with your card and digital coupon. Limit 1. Fred Meyer, fresh for everyone.
Portland Perks. Experience the taste of Aloha at the newest 808 Hawaiian restaurant location in Beaverton. Enjoy Ono mixed plates like your grandma would make if your grandma lived on the Big Island. Right now, save 15% on an 808 gift card only at portlandperks.com.
Hi, it's Isaac Ropp for Window Nation. Right now, you can save 50% off all window styles plus 0 interest for 5 years. Hurry, the sale ends November 30th, so schedule an in-home estimate at 866-90-NATION or at windownation.com.
For many of us, guys, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, the crown's disappearing, maybe hair loss has you feeling like your identity is lost altogether. Well, I've got good news. Hey, it's Souk. It's an incredible yet simple one-day treatment that starts to regrow your own natural hair the very next day. And get this, it's guaranteed to grow for life. It's the Advanced FUE from Advanced Hair. We've all seen the pills and the lotions that come with monthly subscriptions. They may help you retain what you have, but what if you want your own natural hair permanently in specific areas? From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to their world-class physicians, it's not a maybe your hair is going to regrow. It's guaranteed that your new hair is going to grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, and they are the team that I personally recommend. For your free consultation and $250 off and 250 free hair grafts, call 503-832-HAIR. That's 503-832-HAIR or advancedhair.com.
Order for Jennifer C.
Is this my double shot, double cream, double froth, double pump, double whip, double sleeve?
Yeah. Can you handle that much caffeine?
Did you know Discover automatically doubles all the cash back you've earned at the end of your first year?
Oh, really? That's great.
Seriously, did you know...
All right, welcome back. It is In the News, November 25, 2024. Brought to you by The Advocates.
What?
The Advocates.
What?
The Advocates.
What?
The Advocates.
What?
The Advocates. Listen.
No.
Yes.
Disappointing.
Ken.
What? John.
No.
What?
Hey, if you plan to shop at New Seasons for Thanksgiving goodies, watch out.
I do shop at New Seasons.
Oh, you bougie bitch.
They're right there.
On November 27th, which is 2 days from now.
They got good cookies.
10 Portland locations and one in Beaverton are preparing to be on the picket line. The union is calling for a holiday boycott.
Oh, that's no good.
about that? Shove that into your Thanksgiving turkey.
That would be problematic. But it's the friendliest store in my neighborhood. It says
You can shove that up your little pumpkin ass.
I don't know. It's on the.
Is it friendly? That's what it says.
Yeah. It's like it says
I don't know about that.
one of the slogans is like friendliest store in town or whatever. And I will say,
I don't know how you can claim that.
Look, I'm just saying, I find them to be fairly friendly.
It's more aspirational.
I do generally enjoy the fine folks at New Seasons and an excellent hot bar. And I said, delightful cookies.
Don't they have like replacement workers or something? You know,
Those are scabs, man. You can't do that. Where you gonna find replacement workers at the last minute?
I don't know. Do they have plans for
I'm
these
guessing
kinds
that
of
would
things?
probably be problematic on Thanksgiving or leading up to Thanksgiving if you go on strike.
Well, it's the day before Thanksgiving, and they're saying negotiations aren't going well. And yeah, watch out.
Does this affect me or is this just Portland?
Well, I already said.
Yeah, but you said Portland and. So
I said 10 Portland locations and 1 in Beaverton.
Then I'm fine, and that's all that really matters. My Thanksgiving plans will not be altered.
They're a little more reasonable up there in Southwest Washington.
That's what we do. I do know that. We tend to calm things down over there. They've got us.
I think we've done this before, but power rank New Seasons, Zupans, Trader Joe's, and market of choice.
I thought you were going to say Whole Foods.
And Whole Foods.
Man, Whole Foods is like, who can afford to shop at Whole Foods?
I mean, isn't that the same as New Seasons?
No.
And Zupans?
Aren't they all expensive?
They're all expensive, but I find Whole Foods, they have like $13 apple juice.
I think that Whole Foods and New Seasons end up almost being equivalents, with Zupans being the really high-end bougie.
I think Zupans is the best of them.
And also the most expensive.
I'm not factoring in price, but I think Zupans is the best one.
Like the only one I go to is New Seasons.
But I only go to Zupans for specialty things.
Yeah.
You know.
I don't understand. Like I just if you're doing your day-to-day shopping at New Seasons or Zupans or any of those places, you know what? You're doing just fine.
You rich bitch.
Yeah. I'm over at the Winco and Freddy's, and then I'm just heading into the I'm heading in there for my hot food.
Don't forget
Resourceful
about Bi-Mart, little bitch.
So Bi-Mart over by me, so I don't have that option. Bi-Mart they have groceries?
Not really.
Yeah, it's like
they do, but it's just not. Yeah. It's not an extensive selection, but you can buy
selection.
Pancake mix.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know.
I can buy bullets.
Cool
I can
Ranch
buy
Doritos.
Cool Ranch Doritos. Something
Gatorade,
to sand my floors.
Maybe some cheap T-shirts for $4. Actually, $3.97.
God bless Bi-Mart. And maybe I can run into Mike Barrett.
In the news, November 25, 2024. The Hot 5 at 5 is coming up next. We'll get you caught up on the college hoops action today. Blazers have a few more injuries. Got a little baseball nuggy in there. And, hey, big one on Monday Night Football. All next on The Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Did you guys know that right now the
Yes.
undefeated Oregon women's basketball team is playing against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, who is also undefeated?
Oh, my God.
The Lady Ducks trailing by 4, 6 minutes to play in the third
I
quarter.
don't think you're allowed to call them the Lady Ducks anymore.
Oh, the Ducks.
They're just the Ducks.
Yeah, don't
The
be sexist.
Oregon women?
Yes, don't be sexist.
Okay, well, it's not the men playing today. It's the ladies.
The Oregon
The
women's
women.
basketball.
The women.
Is this, what report is this?
Ducks Report.
Why are we doing it so early?
I told you beforehand that it's because we have no shows on Thursday and Friday.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Gotta get it in.
Hey, brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Go Ducks.
Your business needs a network it can count on.
1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with this SportsCenter update. First on The Fan, Week 12 in the NFL wrapping up in just a matter of moments with the Ravens visiting the Chargers on Monday Night Football. The Harbaugh brothers going head-to-head. Kickoff at 5:15 on ABC and ESPN. The Ravens 2.5-point road favorites. In Las Vegas, quarterback Gardner Minshew out for the season after the Raiders lose to the Broncos when he broke his collarbone. Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham also out for the year with a torn tricep sustained in Sunday night's win over the Rams. The Blazers in Memphis tonight taking on the Grizzlies. They're about to tip off. They'll be without Matisse Thybulle, Donovan Clingan, DeAndre Ayton, and Scoot Henderson. Jeremy Grant is available. And an upset in Maui today as the unranked Memphis Tigers beat number 2 UConn in overtime, 99-97 the final. More sports scores and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley, the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Jump back to earlier parts of your favorite fan shows on the Odyssey app. The only way to rewind Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. Ducks.
Mitchell goes in motion. They hand it off straight ahead for a touchdown.
Huskies.
C.J. Verdell wins the game for Oregon.
Isaac and Sue.
Honestly, I just think it makes you feel good as a fan.
And I think it's fun.
Bud Light presents a rivalry week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus.
Rivalry week with Isaac and Sue on the Odyssey app and 1080.
Sweet redemption.
The Fan.
All right. Welcome back. Hope you have a nice little Monday. Sports Bros here.
Excited.
Rob, that's me. Big Six right over there.
Right here.
Oh,
look at him. There's Ryan Buckley. He's got
band's got it going right now.
Slightly better voice. Yeah. Austin, our boss. He loves to mix in the old college.
He's a big band guy.
Fight song.
Yeah.
That was yours truly.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah.
The olds love
That's
a good marching band.
They certainly do.
Old Papa Sukanik, one of his, I don't think he's on Twitter anymore, or at least he doesn't follow me, but one of his all-time tweets was, every year you can set your watch to it. Come Super Bowl time, what is this garbage? What happened to just having a good marching band out there? Set your watch to it.
Hallelujah, man.
Here it comes. He wants to see Ohio State dotting the I at the Super Bowl. Doesn't need any of this fancy singing and dancing. Is this entertainment?
Look, he's a simple man.
He is a simple man.
Coming up this hour, the college football team very few are talking about that may be playing the best football in the country. Are the Niners cooked?
It's not good, Bob.
Yes.
That was, boy, that was bad.
There's your answer.
Well, I kept saying we needed a Kyle Shanahan scheme game a la Matt LaFleur when Jordan Love was out.
Not so much.
We didn't get that. We didn't get that.
I did see next week we could have number 17 Allen versus number 17 Allen in the 49ers Buffalo Bills game.
Oh, Allen squared. Interesting. I
Cool.
know which Allen I'm taking.
Yeah, Brandon.
Yeah. Oh, is that the one?
We'll have some other NFL stuff. Seahawks, nice little W.
Mm-hmm.
They take, they tie for the lead in the NFC West.
Yeah.
Tonight.
I got some thoughts on that, too.
Oh, I bet you do, Jace. That's what you're here for. We need your hot thoughts.
I told you that was my pivot.
got
Something's on. There were 2 pivot games, one for the 49ers, one for Seattle, and they pivoted very different ways.
We have an update on the Jay Leno Hillside saga coming up in the club
We
tonight.
finally get some truth on that one, did we?
Well, someone, the internet.
Yeah.
Is
there a video somewhere?
They have done a complete workup of the hillside where Jay Leno supposedly fell.
Interesting. Well, I did see, remember when I saw the photos of it, I didn't buy that he tried to descend that hill.
Latest, also we have the latest $12,000 cosmetic surgery. What are people changing? We'll get to that 6 to 7. But right now, the hot 5 at 5.
Hot topics, hot opinions.
Oh, golly, I'm hot today.
And hot air. It's time for the Hot 5 at 5.
That's hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 on Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
No, I mean it. That's very hot.
The Hot 5 at 5 with Isaac and Sue. Brought to you on The Fan by Victorico's Mexican Food. Discover Victorico's new savory menu items. Order in-store, online, or get it delivered straight to your door at victoricos.com. Number 5.
We do have college hoops Thanksgiving week tournament action.
Yeah.
Oregon gets Texas A&M tomorrow. That'll be in Vegas here on The Fan, 1:30.
$1.5 million on the line in that one. This is the big NIL tournament where the winners get moolah.
Yeah, now this is in Maui, and they actually returned to Lahaina this year after obviously last year fire. But UConn was upset by unranked Memphis today, 99-97 in overtime, a thriller. Later, we get a top 5 matchup there when number 5 Iowa State meets number 4 Auburn. The Oregon women's team ranked 21st. They are in action also in Hawaii, and they are trailing unranked Georgia Tech 39-35 in the third quarter.
Number 4.
Raiders quarterback Gardner Minshew is done for the season after breaking his collarbone.
And while I feel bad for him, can I share my thoughts that everyone's having? Does it really matter? The Raiders are awful.
I mean, it matters for him.
Matters for him. Not really, because he's not keeping that job. He's not getting another starting job. And the Raiders stink, so I don't know. It really doesn't matter. It's paid either way. And it was a nice payday for Gardner Minshew this year, but that's the end of his starting NFL career.
That leaves Aiden O'Connell and Desmond Ridder for Vegas. They're 2-9.
Yeah, and maybe in the Shedeur Sanders sweepstakes.
Is that the sweepstakes now?
Yeah, there's just not.
Shedeur Sanders?
This is going to be a very weak quarterback draft, and outside of Sanders, there really isn't a lot of first-round grades on quarterbacks. Maybe Sanders, Cam Ward probably goes up there if that does anything for you, but this is considering the class we just came from, this is a very, very weak quarterback class. But Sanders should be the number 1 player taken off, and certainly the number 1 quarterback.
Blazers are in Memphis tonight, fresh off a win in Houston on Saturday. Donovan Clingan is out. He has a left knee sprain. Here we go with that.
Yeah, well, I think going forward, the Blazer injury report, there's going to be a lot of names on it. Ayton's out again, supposedly with his finger.
Deep finger contusion.
This is the deepest finger contusion of all time. It's like 4 or 5 games now.
No Scoot. Yeah. He is out. The Grizzlies will get Ja Morant back. The Grizz only won by 45 in the first meeting.
With none of their real players.
Did you see who's last in the West now, by the way? There's a new last place team in the West.
Is it New Orleans, maybe?
It's New Orleans.
Well, I think they're down 7 of their top 7 players. 7 for 7. Not good, Bob. Not good at all.
It's not like the 14-3 Celtics need help, but after 5 months away due to foot surgery tonight, the Boston lineup gets a boost with the return of Kristaps Porzingis.
You kind of forgot that guy was out for Boston. Hey.
No longer out.
14-3. What would they be with him?
Number 2.
They did beat the 17-1. I think that's the only loss that the Cavs have.
The Los Angeles Angels have added to their rotation, signing free agent lefty Yusei Kikuchi. 3 years, $63 million.
That's a fun one.
2.7 ERA after being traded by Toronto to the Astros last season. Bunch of teams are in on the Juan Soto sweepstakes. They will begin presenting financial bids this week with the hopes of wrapping within the next 2 weeks and before the winter meetings. The market for Soto, reportedly, according to the USA Today, is down to 4 teams. You've got the Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, and Blue Jays.
Blue Jays is kind of weird. You don't necessarily think of them as the sort of spenders. I mean, they're saying that this could be Ohtani level money.
$700 million.
Starting with a 7. And Cohen got caught. He was walking somewhere, and Cohen basically said that they're not going to get outbid. If he doesn't come here, it's not because we didn't pay him. It sounds like Cohen's willing to pay whatever, which I appreciate. I love that he's like, hey, if he doesn't come here, we'll find out together. But, not gonna be because we didn't write the check.
Let's do it. That's it, baby. Shut it from the rooftops.
Wow.
Number 1.
By the way, as much as I love Juan Soto, he's a hell of a player. $70 million for Juan Soto? I'm all right.
I have a whole lot of nope.
That's a lot of milk, as Harbaugh would say.
Too much. But the Mets and the Yankees, those teams, they can afford it.
Yeah.
It's stupid, but they can. And I will once again be rooting for their failure when they do.
I don't appreciate that.
Well, I'm sorry. In your face. The third ever Harbaugh Bowl, or Harbowl, is about to get underway on Monday Night Football. John is 2-0 against younger brother Jim.
Dare I say, a huge game. Baltimore 7-4, the Chargers 7-3. Big game.
If you don't know, John coaches the Ravens and Jim coaches the Chargers. No Roquan Smith for Baltimore. He has a bum hammy.
Yeah. And he's a big deal in that defense. I think one of the reasons why Baltimore hasn't been as sharp is last year when he was in the middle, that guy was the best linebacker in football. And this year he's been he just hasn't been the same player. We forget about off-ball linebackers, but he was so good in that scheme. And so him being out, that's a big deal for the Ravens.
Victor Rico's Mexican Food brings you the Hot 5 at 5. Score big this Black Friday at Victor Rico's. Buy a $30 gift card and get a free $12 burrito. Friday, November 29th only. There's your Hot 5. Coming up next, let's get back to college football, our nut punch. A lot to discuss. We had a lot of teams getting upset over the weekend. One team that did not, maybe playing the best football in the country, and not a lot of people are talking about them. We'll get to all of that coming up next on The Fan.
Fan.
All right. What's up?
Some Steve Winwood. That's what's up.
That is what's up. Now, that doesn't usher in a nice little Thanksgiving week. I don't know what will.
Yeah, we got football on. We got the Har Bowl. We got Steve Winwood. Let's go.
Yeah, Buck's bitching about these Chargers uniforms.
Look, I don't necessarily.
They're just not good.
I don't disagree. Well, first off, bite your tongue. The Chargers unis are as good as anybody's. But what you're saying is they went dark. They went with the dark navy.
All navy.
Yeah.
Pants too.
And the powder. Why would you ever do that when the powder blues are waiting for you?
Yes. The powder blues are aces. They're maybe one of the best uniforms in all of football. Yeah. And you should either be wearing the whites or the powder blues, I think.
Go powder blue or go with the Dan Fouts throwbacks.
Sure.
This is a little. I'm with you. It's not their best look. How about that?
Also, before we get back to college football, or college football nut punch to be exact, there is some controversy over whether the Maui Invitational should be back in Lahaina, because obviously they moved it last year.
Yeah,
but
so they're saying that the community just isn't ready for it.
No,
or?
Well, it's not even open. I mean, the main town. You've been there, right?
Yes, many times.
Yeah, so that main drag there it's still all closed. You can't drive in there.
That I did not know.
The Civic Center, whatever they call it, where they play this tournament, did not. It's just north of downtown. It did not get hit by fires.
Yeah.
But they said 2 years ago when the Maui Invitational hosted this, or Lahaina hosted the Maui Invitational, it's like 22 to 24 million in tourism dollars.
Yeah.
But none of that is occurring this time because it's mostly all still shut down. And a lot of people there are a little upset.
Yeah.
I mean, the mayor, the city had to sign off on it. So the mayor thought, hey, this is good. Let's get some, maybe some normalcy back, bring some people to town. But there are other people that have been affected that are like, not ready, stupid idea.
I always have sympathy towards this because I think anytime you're in charge of making decisions like this, there's probably not a good decision one way or another, right? Because if you would have, if the local, whatever, the mayor, city council, who's ever having to make this decision, or if the tournament itself just said, hey, we're not coming there, there's probably backlash the other way, simply saying, hey, why aren't you coming here? We need this. We need the money. We need the exposure. We're trying to bring attention to this. There's ways you can help us. So I sympathize anytime you're trying to make decisions like this because it's rough. You're always going to piss someone off either being insensitive and only caring about the money, or you're not doing enough to bring attention and money to it. So I just, it's sympathy all around. And that just is a crappy situation.
So we had 7 of the top 17 lose in college football this weekend, which was great.
The Witches of November in a week that was not really supposed to be much. This was kind of a tune-up for rivalry week. This coming one.
But isn't that always when it happens?
Always. When you just have weird look-ahead games. And you can't tell me that, like with Bama and Oklahoma, that wasn't the definition of we didn't care about this game. We weren't paying attention. Oh, crap. We're in too deep, and now we can't dig ourselves out of it.
You could easily make the case A&M was looking ahead to Texas.
Absolutely.
Did you hear the Elko bite from earlier in the week?
The Elko bite is great. Do you have it?
I do. Hold on. Let me pull it up.
Elko literally sticks his foot in his mouth. He is asked about whether or not that his team is looking ahead to Texas and not Auburn. And this
is what happens. You just got to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's an issue. I think when you're in the situation we're in, it's easy to focus on the task at hand. I think, those big games earlier in the year, maybe you look ahead. If we didn't have at stake what's at stake, maybe you would worry about it. I think our focus is single-handedly on on Auburn right now and locked in on what we got to get done.
Not doing bits. That was real.
And then you lose in 4 OTs to Auburn.
Now, do coaches do that? I mean, you got to be careful.
Yeah.
But would a coach? How am I going to ask this?
I don't know.
Well,
not sure what you're asking.
Well, what I'm getting
would a coach admit to looking ahead?
No. Would a coach actually look ahead? Like, would a coach do some things for the game in 2 weeks?
Yes.
On the week they're playing Auburn.
Yes.
And how do you balance? I mean, how do you balance that?
If you are playing Auburn and you don't think that Auburn poses much of a challenge, You probably have some lower level coaches, maybe some interns already breaking down film on Texas. You may be a little more conservative in some of the things that you are going to break out. So, I mean, look ahead. We act at times like coaches and teams aren't able to do two things at the same time.
And these staffs are so robust now. You have people doing this advanced scouting.
Yes. So, is the eye off the ball? No, but you're silly if you're sitting there saying that Texas A&M wasn't aware that this coming game against Texas was basically their season.
Well, but yeah, of course they're aware. The question is how much work do they put in on that game the week before when you have another opponent?
You may get 10% that gets sloughed off. It's minuscule, but yeah, there is definitely an element. I think the bigger element is convincing players that that they need to be as detail oriented as they need to be, and I think that's more likely. And we've even heard Dan Lanning talk about it, where he kind of alludes to the fact that practice maybe wasn't the best. It's a long season. It's a real grind. And if you're A&M and you're coming off a win over New Mexico State, where, again, you probably didn't put that much into the game plan against Mexico State, you're staring at an Auburn team that isn't very good. I think they were a 4-win team before that. And now you've got Texas on the horizon. Yeah, I'm sure the players had their eye off the ball a little bit. And yet it still ended up being a game that was crazy back and forth and, ended up going to 4 OTs. But sometimes, yeah, that little, even if it's 2 or 3%, that eye off the ball can jump up and get you.
Well, I'm not sure Ole Miss had its eye off the ball. They just ran into a team that's playing a lot better.
Yes.
Florida.
Yep.
And somebody texted Vancouver for text on that. That's a great question. He said, what if I told you before the season Billy Napier would have a brighter future than Mike Norvell?
Would have never believed it. And
how would you have reacted to that?
I would have laughed right in your face. Mike Norvell was signing $100+ million contract coming off an undefeated season, and Billy Napier was the definition of a dead man walking, playing, not arguably, statistically, the toughest schedule in modern college football history. And here we are at the end of the year where Florida State's like, how the hell do we get out of this deal? You don't. Florida State isn't recruiting. And meanwhile, Billy Napier he's not just keeping his job. All of a sudden, the Florida faithful are like, hell, let's go.
Getting some recruiting wins, too.
Yes. Dude, this is going to be weird to say, considering that Florida is going to be, a 6-win team. This is arguably one of the best coaching jobs that we've seen in the last 10 years, and what Billy Napier is doing.
Well, he just played the hardest schedule in college football history, didn't he?
Yes.
And now he gets Florida State. Watch him lose.
I don't think that's going to happen. But that is that's an amazing job. And again, that's why, again, college football is fun, is you can go into a week that really shouldn't be that interesting, and 7 of the top 20 teams end up losing, and some of them in spectacular fashion, even the ones that didn't lose. The Penn State Minnesota game was bananas. Came down to 3 fourth down conversions, including a fake punt for Penn State to finally grow some balls and win that game. We had the Cal Stanford game that was great. Oregon State Washington State was great, even though those games didn't really mean much outside of their fan bases. Those were great games. This was a great week of college football, and I think it kind of puts a nice capstone on what I think arguably has been one of, if not the best college football season in the last 30 years. I mean, this season has been phenomenal. So this idea that somehow the college football playoff and all of this and NIL and the transfer portal was going to ruin college football, if that's the case, you just ain't watching, because this thing is fantastic.
The one team, well, actually not the one, because Ohio State ended up beating Indiana handily. It was 38-15, the final of that one. Ohio State did not look very good in the first half, but I mean, ultimately their talent won out, and now all they need to do is beat Michigan to play Oregon in the Big Ten title game.
Get the rematch.
But the other team that made a laugher out of a game that a lot of people thought may be closer was Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Notre Dame beat Army 49-14, and there are some who believe that Notre Dame team is playing the best football in the country right now.
Yep.
They've won 6 straight against ranked opponents. And interestingly enough,
hammering teams too.
They get USC this week, and correct me if I'm wrong, I guess we'll know more tomorrow. They have to win this game, don't they? Notre Dame's going to have to beat USC to get into that tournament.
I would assume, although with all of the the essing of the bed in the SEC, I do think Notre Dame as a 2-loss team, the committee, by the way, is going to love them when the new rankings come out.
Yeah, they could be number 4.
I do think that if it's a close loss at USC, I think that they could still get in, but essentially you do not want to leave that in the hands of a committee. And yeah, if you're Notre Dame, I mean, it's so weird, but if you somehow can go back and redo that stupid Northern Illinois game, which just seems, light years ago, and they finally figured out their offense, this arguably would be the number one. It would probably be the number one team in the country. You would get some votes between them and Oregon going back and forth.
Yeah.
And
well, it just goes to show you that Northern Illinois lost, because I remember, or is that what it was?
It was Northern Illinois. Second week of the season.
I mean, I remember talking about that, and everybody was just ready. This is why you got to slow down when a team loses a game early in the season, or maybe even 2 games or 3 games. Look at how Kansas has turned it around. Look at how Florida has turned it around. It's a long season, and so many people were ready to write off Notre Dame and just throw them out after losing to Northern Illinois. And dude, it's their only loss, and they're absolutely pummeling teams. They play really sound football. They run the ball. There's really not a lot you can pick apart about Notre Dame.
No, and Riley Leonard finally, I mean, early on it was the offense did not look great.
No, it wasn't good at all.
But you're right in that this is kind of an old school team in that, he only has 14 touchdown passes, but he's not throwing picks. He's only been sacked 10 times. They're running the ball. I think they've got like 3 or 4 backs that are averaging 6+ yards per carry. And then on the other side of things, and again, you can say all you want about schedule and who you've played, but there are a lot of teams up there that have schedules that aren't necessarily murderer's row. But when you look at A&M, who is more than they're playing for the SEC title. They're going to have a game to at least get in there. So you can't dismiss the game against Texas A&M. They gave up 13 there. In their one loss, they only gave up 16 points. Against Louisville, who had a really good offense at the time, they gave up 24. Georgia Tech has a pretty good offense. They gave up 13. Florida State, they gave up 3. And say what you will, Navy and Army both have good offenses. They're both service academies, but they can be funky offenses. They gave up 14 points to each one of those. So it's not just the offensive side of things where they're punching people in the nose and running the ball real well. They're playing great defense too. So I'm with you. It's weird that Notre Dame may end up going into this thing and you don't have a really great idea of what Notre Dame is, because there just isn't a game on there that anyone's really going to give them credit for, even though they beat A&M. So this is a big, if Notre Dame gets into the tournament, and I do believe they're going to, we talk about Penn State, Ohio State, Dan Lanning, Oregon, who's under a lot of pressure. If Notre Dame is under some pressure, because we've seen this before, where Notre Dame gets here, right? And then on the biggest stage, they get a chance to prove themselves against one of the big boys, whether it's Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State, and what has happened in recent years, and by recent years, I mean like 30 years, they don't just lose, they get their teeth kicked in. So for all of that we talk about pressure on teams, Notre Dame is going to have some pressure. And yet this whole time, I feel like they're just quietly flying underneath the radar, which is probably great for Freeman.
Yeah, I think he's a good coach.
Yeah.
Better than Penn State?
Yes.
Think so?
Yes. If you gave me a first round game between Penn State and Notre Dame, I will take Notre Dame.
So the SEC's 3 big losses, A&M, Bama, and Ole Miss, opens the door for fewer SEC teams in the tournament, obviously.
You may get 3.
Yeah, you may only get 3.
You went from 6 to maybe 3.
It depends on who wins Texas A&M, but if let's say Texas beats Texas A&M, they're favored to do so.
Yep.
Georgia plays Texas in the SEC title game.
Both in.
They're probably both in. After that, you may get Tennessee, that's it.
That's it.
Everybody else would have 3 losses.
Yeah. Well, Tennessee went from, oh my God, we're going to get screwed, to Tennessee just sitting there being like, we're great.
It's unbelievable that I don't believe talent-wise, they're probably 5th or 6th in that conference for me, and the fact that they are sitting pretty right now is wild.
Indiana's sitting there like, thank you. Indiana went from, we are really on the bubble, to Indiana being like, hey, beat Purdue and we're in. And also, Miami and SMU are both sitting there being like, hell yeah. more than likely, I think you're going to get Miami and SMU in that thing.
Well, Miami has to beat Syracuse.
Yes.
If by chance Miami does not beat Syracuse, and that is on the road, Clemson would slide into the ACC title game. And there's freaking Dabo with his 9th live.
Well, don't look now, but is there a ass backwards chance? Especially if A&M loses, is there a chance that you could get 3 ACC teams in? Miami, SMU, and Clemson backdoor in this thing in?
Well, Clemson.
They're
so who
there.
did they play then? South Carolina.
They finished with South Carolina,
That'd
and that
be a
would
good
be
win.
a big win.
That'd be a good win. That would put them 10-2. Yeah, they'd be in position
to
maybe get a spot.
And if you end up with 2 one-loss teams in the ACC title game, and the committee has kind of alluded to the fact that they don't want to use those championship games to punish anyone, should be only lifting you up. So if you get Miami and SMU, who would be top 10 teams playing in the ACC title game, and Clemson gets a big win over, I think I think at least in the AP, South Carolina is like 18 or 19. What are the odds that we can end up with the same number of SEC teams and the same number of ACC teams in the first college football playoff?
Yeah, it's crazy. Do you think that the tournament is better if it has more SEC teams in it? Or is like if Alabama's not in it, doesn't that hurt the tournament?
Probably. But I just think that's the beauty of this format. Is much like the NCAA tournament. I think it'll be fine either way. Would it be more interesting if teams like Alabama are in it, as opposed to, no offense, but as opposed to SMU? Yes. We do this all the time. We sit there and we complain about the big boys. But do you remember when Michigan played Alabama last year in the bowl game? What was it, like 24 million people tuned into that? So
but you want the Cinderella component too.
Yeah,
and you would get that with SMU for sure. You would get that with Indiana and Boise State.
Question is, how many Cinderellas do you need?
Yeah, exactly.
I promise you, Indiana playing anyone versus Alabama playing someone, the number is much bigger and the interest is bigger for Alabama.
Same with SMU.
Yes. So, yeah, the tournament would be better, not with more SEC teams. It would be better with bigger names. Like if you end up in a 12-team tournament and you end up with Indiana, SMU, Boise, and Iowa State, sorry, that's not as interesting as if we had some of those other teams that were mixed in there. But the format will carry it, and it's going to be kick-ass either way.
All right. That wraps up the college football nut punch.
It is kind of funny to hear the SEC just sit there and crumble when they have no one to blame but themselves.
Up next, we move to the NFL. Are the Niners cooked? And how about those Seahawks? Here's Buck.
Bud Light presents a rivalry week edition of Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Now, from the Fan Sports Desk, a Sports Center update on 1080 The Fan.
Ryan Buckley with the Sports Center update. First on the Fan, Week 12 in the NFL, wrapping up with the Ravens visiting the Chargers on Monday Night Football. And the Chargers already out in front, 7-0 behind a Justin Herbert rushing touchdown. They have about 6 minutes to play in the first quarter. In Las Vegas, quarterback Gardner Minshew out for the season after breaking his collarbone in Sunday's Raiders loss to the Broncos. Eagles defensive end Brandon Graham also done for the year with a torn triceps sustained in Sunday's win over the Rams. Former Giants quarterback Daniel Jones has cleared waivers and he's now an unrestricted free agent. Potential contenders interested in him as a backup are the Minnesota Vikings and Ravens. The Blazers in Memphis tonight. They are taking on the Memphis Grizzlies, and they're very shorthanded. Donovan Clingan, Matisse Thybulle, Scoot Henderson, and DeAndre Ayton all out this evening. That one is just underway, and the Blazers are trailing 34-22 just at the end of the first quarter. More sports, scores, and stories in 30 minutes. I'm Ryan Buckley, the 1080 The Fan Sports Desk. Listen live or on demand on the Odyssey app, the Fan's desktop player, or tell your smart speaker to play 1080 The Fan.
Tired of getting dinged by subscriptions? We won't send you a bill. Portland's sports leader, 1080 The Fan. It's time for Who's Leading the Charge? A look under the hood at the coaches, players, and teams getting it done. Brought to you by Battery Exchange.
Head with a 55-yard field goal from the right hash with 26 seconds remaining. The snap, the hold, the kick by Everett Hayes is on the way, and it is good! With 20 seconds to play, Everett Hayes, a 55-yard field goal. The Beavers lead it 41-38.
How about our Beavers, huh? Pac-2 champs.
That was a bomb.
55. Well, I think they said 54 on TV, but 55.
Even so, a lot of teams in this country would take that kicker.
Yeah, no kidding. That is a bomb, and hoist that trophy.
Yeah, whatever
it
is.
There isn't a trophy. But, hey, nice win. Who's leading the charge? Powered by Battery Exchange. Mention code BXT10 at checkout for 10% off your entire purchase this month. Online at batteryexchange.com.
This year's ratings of the best TVs just got published, and Samsung, LG, and Sony scored the highest. Also, they warned about the poor performance of the bargain brands promoted at some stores. So where can you get the best deal on the top-rated TVs? At the club? Online? Nope. At Video Only. They've got their better than Black Friday deals on right now. Don't be sorry. Check out Video Only before you buy.
Hey, it's Isaac Ropp for Window Nation. Experts say that heating costs are increasing up to 23% this winter. And if your windows aren't from Window Nation, your money is literally going out the window. They have some of the best insulated windows so your heat stays inside. And right now, get these amazing windows at 50% off. Plus, you can save even more money with 0% interest for 5 full years. Hurry, sale ends November 30th. Schedule your fast in-home estimate right now at 866-90Nation or visit windownation.com.
Hey, sports fans, if you're not calling John Anthony, you're simply missing out. To prove it, I'm releasing your Monday Night Report absolutely free on a recorded message line. 1-800-244-5506. Baltimore at Los Angeles. Baltimore has a potent offense capable of explosive plays both through the air and on the ground. LA and their talented receiving corps
Primetime with Isaac and Sue.
Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
On 1080 The Fan.
There have been a variety of proposals.
All right, now to the NFL, where your Seahawks, my Seahawks, our Seahawks.
Yes.
They won a game.
That's a monster game. I really thought that was their season.
That was a big one.
I thought with the Niners and theirs against Green Bay and then Seattle against Arizona, I felt, we said going into it, those to me were pivot games that determine where your season goes. And one failed miserably. And the other one, I think, leaves you with a lot of hope and faith that this Seattle team can be the team that I thought they were going into the year, which was a playoff team.
Yeah. Yes, huge win.
You're like,
Well, I can't figure out if they're good. I continue to watch them and go, I see signs, and then I watch Geno, and I'm like, oh, no, he gave it to the other team again.
It was another bad pick.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's things like that, and their offensive line issues. look, their defense was really good yesterday.
Yes.
They gave it to Kyler Murray. They made him look. I mean, if Arizona could do anything offensively, they could have gotten out of there with a win.
And I was surprised because Kyler Murray in that offense, especially them running the ball, they had been really effective. And this Seattle team all year has been dreadful stopping the run.
And that's why
they held them to 49 yards rushing.
Yeah, that's why I think that sometimes I look at Seattle and go, man, they're good. And then other times I look at them and go, God, they're not very good.
Well,
I don't know.
Here's what I'll say about Seattle. I have long been a defender of Geno Smith, but I'll admit, he has this is his worst run since he's been in Seattle. He is not playing up to his capabilities. And yes, the O-line has been a major issue, and I don't think it's all on Geno Smith. But some of the mistakes that he's been making this year are inexcusable for a player that, one, we've seen have a really high ceiling and has this much experience. So I still like Geno. I still believe in Geno. I think when Geno at his best, I believe is a top 13, 12-ish quarterback in the league, bordering on top 10. But he can't keep making these sorts of stupid decisions. The O-line is getting better. It's not great. It's trending in the right direction. But what gives me hope that Seattle can be the team that I thought they were, one, this division is very, very average. I don't think there's an exceptional team in the division, including the Seattle Seahawks. But Mike Macdonald, I just think this defense has taken some time to come around. One, injuries. The defensive line is finally healthy, and you can give you multiple looks. Leonard Williams was an absolute monster. And you're getting guys like Draymond Jones now that you can play different fronts. You can and Murphy's healthy, and then you got Mafe on the outside. This is a unit that can play big, they can play small, and finally they're healthy. I think that you've replaced both of your starting linebackers. Let's not forget that you have a complete, and Ernest Jones is really been a key cog for this. Remember when Roquan Smith came over to Baltimore and got plugged into that McDonald defense, the Ravens defense went from good to great. I'm not saying Ernest Jones is Roquan Smith, but he has made a big impact there. And I think finally some of these guys, even in the back half, you replace one of your corners now. Job is playing real well on the outside. And I think you just have a unit now that's finally getting used to Mike Macdonald's scheme. And I think you're seeing this defense round into form. And if this team ends up winning this division and being a playoff team, Geno Smith, it will be because he stops turning the ball over. The offensive line play will improve with Abe Lucas out there in the center, but it will be because this defense is starting to really become a nasty Mike Macdonald defense.
I just don't know.
And that's what I like.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, their defense was really good yesterday. He's a defensive guy, and so that you can see his stamp on that defense, and John Schneider's too. Because like you said, they've made a couple of moves here. But offensively,
I know.
Dude,
I know.
Geno, I'm sorry. You said at his best. He's never at his best.
I disagree.
And the reason he's not at his best is because he's Geno Smith. This is what quarterbacks like him do. They get thrown off of their game too easily. No. And he just cannot. I would rather have a guy. So what's his, let me see his turnover. Give me his tutty to interception ratio, will you?
This year it's not great. It's 12-12.
Okay, right there.
Yeah.
Give me a guy that can throw 10 touchdowns but have the 3 picks.
Yeah.
You know, a guy who's a little bit more limited arm-wise but will make the right play and not just throw it directly to the other team at the worst possible time. And they are going nowhere with him.
But I'm saying the last 2 years, 20-9 and 30-11, I get it.
I get it. But what I'm saying, though, is I understand everything you're saying about Geno. Geno, maybe a little higher upside than or at his best is better than some other quarterbacks we have lumped in with him.
Yes.
But it's not there enough. This is what inconsistent or mediocre quarterbacks are, is that, yes, they have the ceiling, and that's why they're starters, but they never hit it or rarely hit it, particularly against good teams or in the playoffs, and so you're not going anywhere with them.
I just need him to stop.
But he won't.
But he has.
He won't.
I think part of this is this year, the offensive line. It's not arguably all year. It has been one of, along with the New England Patriots, it has been one of the worst, if not the worst, offensive line, period. And this is where I will defend you on your Geno Smith blasphemy.
It's hate.
It's your Geno Smith hate.
He's not good.
And I just couldn't disagree more with that. What Geno Smith is Geno Smith is not good enough to overcome horrid or probably even mediocre O-line play because he's a pocket quarterback. And when you give Geno time like they did in Atlanta, Geno Smith will carve you up. The problem is that when you don't give me a sustained run game, when we can't work play action and you force Geno off his spot and you make him uncomfortable, we're seeing really, really bad decisions. And every time I watch him play, it's like you can see it in his face. He's like, stop doing that. And he hasn't done it for 2 years. There is a regression here. And when I look at it, I think, why is the regression? And I still go back to 2.6 yards per carry. And the guy is under pressure at one of the highest and the quickest rates of any quarterback in the NFL. And you're right in that if that doesn't improve, then maybe the good Geno that I like ever comes out.
Right there. Bingo. You just nailed it. The thing about it is you are asking for a perfect scenario for him to flourish. They do not have a perfect scenario, and most teams never do. And so by that I mean offensive line and protection and everything. Yeah. When Geno gets rushed because the offensive line is so porous, he actually does make some play. Like he runs around and actually makes some drive-saving plays.
Yep.
The problem with that is that will not change because their offensive line isn't changing. Yeah. So it's not going to get any better. So he is going to continue to have to try to make these plays. Well, when he tries to make those plays and he could make 60% of them, the other 40% or 20% or whatever percentage you want to put on it are atrocious. Yeah. And it absolutely kills you.
It's bad.
So the only way I want that guy as my quarterback is if I have the perfect scenario around him, which is one of the strongest offensive lines in the league and a great run game and weapons on the outside. They don't have that. Yeah. So you're not going to get the Geno that you want. That's Geno Smith. I just think there are other guys, when you have a situation like the Seahawks situation offensively, I think there are other quarterbacks that would complement that a little bit better and turn it over less and give you a better chance to win or steal a playoff game. Look, they're not going to win a Super Bowl with that offensive line, but he just you can see it coming, man.
I would like to see Seattle.
He's going to blow it.
I would like to see them bolster the offensive line and give Geno another crack at this in the offseason. And I do think they can win this division because I think the Niners are going nowhere. I think their season is done. I think they're cooked. The Rams, again, that one of the more disappointing teams because largely they are healthy now and that they continue to disappoint. And then Arizona, most people thought Arizona was the best team in this division, and Seattle just beat them 16-6 and could have beat them more than that if not for the horrible Geno Smith interception there. So when I look at it and I'm Seattle and I ask myself, why not us? Now, you're right. With this O-line, you're not winning a Super Bowl. But when I look at their next game, the Jets at the Cardinals, who you just beat, Green Bay, Minnesota, that's tough. But if you get a split there and then you finish up with the Bears and the Rams, the Seahawks can win this division. Well, the Seahawks can absolutely win this division.
I mean, I don't disagree with that, but who cares if you can't take advantage of that? I mean, look, not who cares. It's important to go to the playoffs. That would be good.
Yeah,
they have the bones of a good team, but they've got flaws that are going. We all know what their flaws are, and their flaws are going to kill them eventually.
I just love the way that this defense right here. If I'm a Seahawks fan, this defense right now and the way it's playing, and the way your corners are playing, with the way Witherspoon is coming around, and mostly this defensive front, and Ernest Jones has been. And give Schneider credit for saying, "Hey, the two linebackers we brought in this year to be our guys suck. Get him the hell out of here. Promote one of the young guys. Go get Ernest Jones. Bring him in." And all of a sudden, this defense looks like the defense that we thought it was going to look like. That gives you excitement. That's what to be excited about. But, God, their offensive line is just blech.
Yeah. Well, okay, so on one side of the ball, they're good. On the other side of the ball, they're not.
Yeah.
Are they a good team?
They're okay.
Yes.
They can win their division.
They're a good team.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you what, in the offseason, though, there is going to be a big conversation of what do you do? Because
that quarterback, you mean?
Well, here's the thing. You go into this offseason, it's a lot easier to bolster an offensive line than it is to find a quarterback. So do you continue to ride the Geno Smith thing and try to pull a Baker Mayfield, try to pull a Sam Darnold? You try to do the last 2 years what you've done with Geno Smith and say, like what Carolina did in the offseason. Carolina went and actually built a pretty good offensive line. You can find 2 guys to come in here under your cap space and put in the interior line and be like, hey, all of a sudden our O-line can be pretty good, but then you're relying on Geno. Or do you just say, even though we have a defense and some other pieces like at wide receiver and a running back that we feel pretty good about it, do you flush the whole thing and say we have to find a quarterback? Because if you get rid of Geno Smith, I ask you, where do you go?
Well, I don't know. I was just thinking about
Sam
that.
Darnold?
Well, no. I mean,
it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, it's just you already have your Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is why John Schneider gets paid a lot of money. Like the draft would be the first place I would look, but it sounds like this maybe isn't the greatest quarterback draft.
Not what people are saying. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So it's pretty weak. And relying on rookie quarterbacks is tough.
I mean, outside of that, I'd have to look at the free agent list. What about Russell Wilson? Could they go trade for Russell Wilson?
Justin Fields might be available.
Okay. Well, yeah, see, that doesn't give you... So if you're going to replace... For everything I said about Geno, if you're going to replace him, it needs to be an obvious upgrade.
Yeah.
And nobody we've mentioned yet is.
No.
So therefore... And again, if you shore up the offensive line, you do have Kenneth Walker, you do have DK Metcalf, you have some other pieces. It's like Geno can be okay in that, if you can be better if they do that. But outside of that, I don't know. I mean, Daniel Jones is out there.
I've got a list of guys who are free agents in 2025.
Who do we have?
Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Jacoby Brissett, Taylor Heineke, Marcus Mariota, Drew Lock, Jarrett Stidham, Andy Dalton, Justin Fields, Joe Flacco, Jameis Winston, Mac Jones, Carson Wentz, Jimmy Garoppolo, Case Keenum, and then you really start falling off.
Okay. Well, there were some names in there of guys that are intriguing. I wouldn't say that they're over the moon better than Geno Smith, but maybe they would fit better than Geno Smith because they won't turn it over as much. I mean, there are those guys out there like the Brissetts.
Yeah.
And the
I only heard one thing on that list.
Being a man of increase?
Yeah, but he turns it over
joking.
too.
I'm just saying, Geno Smith is so much better than Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, again, I'm not saying he's not. What I am saying is a better game manager who does not turn the ball over is better for Seattle than Geno Smith if you're going to make him run around and try to win games.
Well, you got one more year left of him at cheap at like $13 million, but it's going to be really weird if you got a dead man walking next year. So we'll see if they do anything in the offseason. But you got one more year of Geno if you want him.
I do have the odds on Daniel Jones' next team. He is now officially a free agent,
I know.
guys.
It's shockingly no one claimed him off waivers.
So we'll get to that next on The Fan.
It's time for a Ducks Report, the inside story on Oregon athletics. Brought to you by Mods PDX. The future of building is here.
Well, I'm sad to report that the Oregon women have lost their first basketball game of the season.
Georgia Tech.
They fall to the undefeated Yellow Jackets 74-58. Kind of tough when you go 15% from three-point land.
They got smoked.
15%?
Yeah.
That's
2 for 13 from deep.
That's not...
Make him do burpees.
It's not going to do it. It's not
Coach Graves.
Well. Does anyone do burpees anymore?
Oregon women's team needs to.
Maybe the crab walk. Some monkey rolls, if you will.
Send them a message. Mods PDX, the future of building. Oh, it's here.
The Seahawks make a rivalry breakthrough.
Geno gets the snap, looks, steps up, gonna run, 10, 5, Geno, touchdown, Seahawks!
Now, who wants to win the NFC West?
San Francisco still has the ability to get it together. I really like what Arizona's doing right now. And even the Rams aren't terrible.
Talk about it and get the inside story from the home of the Seahawks in the NFL. 1080.
Holy catfish!
The Fan.
Nick Suk here for the Big Ford Store, Vancouver Ford. Locally owned and #1 in customer service for, get this, the 7th straight year. Their certified staff is ready to get you in the ride you're looking for. Vancouver Ford isn't just my hometown dealer. It's the dealer I send my family and friends to because I know they're going to be well taken care of and you won't find a better deal, period. Vancouver Ford is proud to represent my hometown and I'm proud to stand behind them. Find them right off Andreessen at SR 500 in the heart of Clark County or online at vancouverford.ca. redtailgolfcenter.com.
Have a special somebody on your shopping list that loves to golf? Then you'll love Red Tail Golf Center's annual store-wide holiday sale, where you'll save up to 50% off all the gifts for your golfer, including top-name clubs, balls, shoes, apparel, and much more, all under one roof and at the guaranteed lowest prices. Red Tail has 30 to 50% off a huge selection of golf gear from Callaway, Nike, TaylorMade, Cobra, and many more. Not sure what to buy? How about a gift card so your golfer can choose what they want? And to make you merrier, we'll even throw in a $10 bonus for every $100 in gift cards you purchase. Or trade in your old clubs and get a 50% bonus to spend like cash on anything at Red Tail. Gift cards, trade-ins, and up to 50% off store-wide, all at Red Tail's annual holiday sale, now through December 24th. Red Tail Golf Center, where we guarantee the lowest holiday prices. 1/2 mile from Washington Square on Shoals Ferry. Visit golfredtail.com for details or call 503-646-5166.
Get ready. It's time for early holiday shopping at Fred Meyer. Save on great gifts for everyone, like pajamas for the whole family, including your pets. You'll find special deals throughout the store, including toys, home electronics, and appliances too. And get ready for the Fred Meyer Black Friday sale, including half-price socks and underwear. So get started on your holiday shopping now and enjoy great deals all month long at Fred Meyer. Fresh for everyone.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance.
Nothing easier to enjoy than that. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
On 1080 The Fan.
Well, Daniel Jones is a free agent. Cleared waivers today, but that was to be expected.
Yeah.
Based on his contract.
Yeah, no one wants that.
But he can now go sign like Russell Wilson did for next to nothing.
Yeah.
The best example is like what Baker Mayfield did for the Rams several years ago, where he played like the last 4 or 5 games after they got him off the scrap heap.
See the Raiders, maybe. I mean, they lost Minshew, so.
Yeah, but Jones has said that he doesn't want to go to a bad team, which
hate to tell you this, buddy, but
yeah, exactly.
No one good wants you.
Well, there are 2 good teams that top the list of odds.
Okay.
One is Baltimore. They are actually the odds-on favorite at 2-1.
Really?
Yep. Minnesota is second at 2.5-1. Then Vegas at 5-1. And then Dallas, Detroit, and Miami are all 7-1.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's interesting considering that he's had all of one even decent year, and that was when Daboll got there, and he didn't really throw the ball. He just ran it.
I'm not really sure if he's saying I just want to go back up somebody on a good team.
Yeah, maybe.
Rather than, I think he would probably rather go sit behind Lamar Jackson than he would go to Vegas and play.
Makes sense.
And that I get.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously at this point, if you're Daniel Jones, you got to figure out something to do with your career because you got paid, you got your money, you don't got to worry about that. Your priority at this point should be trying to resurrect your career. And this is what I say all the time about, guys like this that wash out. Chasing a starting job just means you end up in a bad situation. And clearly Daniel Jones cannot overcome bad situations. You can't. It's not that good. But you look at like what you mentioned, Baker Mayfield, obviously Sam Darnold's doing it this year, that if you end up in a really, really good situation with a good O-line, a run game, great scheme coach, all of a sudden that becomes something where maybe you sit for a couple years, you get an opportunity, injury occurs, and then you go prove that you've got one more run as a starting quarterback in you. But I think the days of anyone believing that Daniel Jones is any sort of long-term answer is done. It's the same thing with Sam Darnold. Can we say Sam Darnold is probably having about as good a year as you could hope with Sam Darnold? And no one really thinks that Sam Darnold is a starting quarterback. Not a franchise guy. I guess maybe the best example of this is Baker. I think Baker has settled in to where he is the starting quarterback at a certain price point in Tampa. And he's better than average. He's a good, solid quarterback, and no one thinks he's ever going to elevate to an elite guy, but he's not a throwaway guy. He's not a bridge guy. And I think that maybe is the best you can get, but let's also not try to equate Daniel Jones with Baker Mayfield, because those are not the same players.
Well, the situation is the same, though.
Yes.
Is what I was saying.
Yes, the situation is the same.
Yeah, he's probably a little bit more Darnoldy than he is.
I don't even think he's Darnoldy. His
Well,
best.
yeah, I mean, he can run a little bit.
His best weapon is his legs.
And he he certainly turns it over a lot. I don't know. I think Miami could be interesting with McDaniel. Mike McDaniel.
Boy,
sitting behind Tua.
I know I wouldn't want him in that offense, though. I mean, that offense is predicated on pre-snap reads, sharp, and being able to accurately throw the ball. I mean, there's weapons there. If you're Mike McDonald, I guess it's better than Skylar Thompson, for God's sakes. But, boy, I've never seen anything in Daniel Jones throwing the ball that leads me to believe that he's ready to play in a Mike McDonald-like system. But the Baltimore thing would be interesting. More of a run-heavy team. Green Bay, if they were interested in him, they wouldn't because they have Malik Willis. But I look at what like Matt LaFleur did with Malik Willis, and Daniel Jones can throw the ball better than Malik Willis, and he made him look like a legitimate quarterback in the NFL.
And wasn't Jones supposed to be a pretty good physical athlete? Like,
yes.
not like
he is a very good athlete,
but not Willis level of running. But for
he's a better runner than Malik Willis. I feel like Malik Willis coming in was not a great runner of the ball. He's more of a pocket guy. So, yeah, that's what I said. Like Green Bay, if they were willing to move on from Malik, which they probably won't because Malik's been really good for them in the spot play, that's the sort of situation that I would like to see him in. Maybe Buffalo, you could do something with that. With Allen, again, a good scheme, a fit, a creative coach. But, I just don't know what the general opinion is of Daniel Jones. For me, it's not very high. But he is going to be cheap, and he is a guy that at one point, the Giants thought he was worth $43 million.
Well, that's the key is he's cheap.
He's cheap.
That's the key. And so, he gets into that backup quarterback territory. You can't tell me there's that many better backups than Daniel Jones in the league.
There's a lot of bad backups.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Jameis Winston's probably the
Niners could take him right now. I mean,
yes. Yeah, right.
Like that's they're in shambles. They're not going anywhere. But he'd be an upgrade over Brandon Allen, I think.
Yeah. That's a whole other thing too that we can get into is, dude, if you're the Niners.
Why is that your backup quarterback?
Well,
that's a good one.
The idea that the Niners, I just don't know where they go from here. Windows in the NFL open and close a lot quicker than we realize.
And they got one of the oldest rosters around.
And Trent Williams is going to be 37 years old. Ayuk obviously not going to play. We don't know. We assume he's going to be healthy. Debo looks like a shell of himself. How old's George Kittle?
He's got some miles on him.
Because he, again, is a guy that's beat. I don't see what Kittle is. Oh, he's 31. So, again, you know me, skilled players over the age of 32, just be aware. Guys get old real fast in this league. We've already talked about how the defensive line is not nearly the same unit that it was when they were rolling. McCaffrey, we'll see, has not looked the same since coming back from the leg injury. We assume that McCaffrey hopefully eventually gets back to himself. And you got to pay Brock Purdy. What do you pay Brock Purdy? I just wonder, because this sure feels like a lost year for San Francisco. The draft hasn't been quite what we hoped to spend the last couple of years. You made a bad mistake, obviously, going with the Trey Lance and giving up draft picks. You kind of lucked into Brock, but now you got to ask yourself what's there. I just wonder if this run of San Francisco, this core unit that should have won a Super Bowl, came close twice and did not. I think it's a fair question to ask, is this window officially closed?
I think there's a better chance it doesn't happen than it does.
Well, we can get into that tomorrow.
No.
We're out of time. You're cutting into very important goof-off time.
Damn it.
Bye. Club 1080 is next. We'll start with the Jay Leno Hillside saga, The Truth.
Gay beat-up clubs again?
Next on The Fan.
Wow, look at these black
Try peanut butter egg.
Christmas tonight.
Let's be great, baby. Let's be great. Let's be great.
Come on!
Let's be great. Let's be great. Come on. Let's be great.
Watchdogs over the Metropolitan.
Indeed, we are the watchdogs over the Metropolitan.
It is what we do.
Here on the show. Yes. We're pirate watchdogs now all of a sudden. For some reason.
I don't know. It just kind of seemed like it's a watchdoggy sort of sound. Gotta be tough and manly. I guess the pirates are probably tough and manly too. Or they wore earrings and drank wine.
Well, we've gotten to the bottom of the Jay Leno Hillside saga.
Is that what it sounded like when he fell?
I'm not gonna say I would have laughed if if I had seen Jay Leno fall, but
Did he really fall?
I may chuckle. I have my doubts. That does not seem like a fall to me.
Well, a lot of people do, based on his face.
Seemed a little suspect, a little suspicious.
Now, Christy Yamaguchi Main has taken this to the social meds.
What? Why is Christy Yamaguchi?
It's a popular Twitter content account making a play on words with Christy Yamaguchi and the rapper Gucci Mane.
You missed the main part. Christy Yamaguchi Main.
Okay, I was like, wait. American legend? Christy Yamaguchi is
mashed up with American legend Gucci Mane.
And they say, I love that the Pittsburgh subreddit did some street-level reporting to get to the bottom of the story about Jay Leno's fall. Apparently, the hill is like 56 feet, so he was spot on. So they posted the pictures of the Hampton Inn where he was staying.
Which, can we admit that that's the strangest part about the story is that he's staying... The man's worth $500 million and he's staying at a Hampton Inn.
And then they posted the aerial of the Hampton Inn right next to the sports lounge that he wanted to go eat at, Dino's. Which is right next... I mean, it's the parking lot right next door.
Yeah, I do see this here. All right.
And it's... So there is a hill that is between the two. And I can totally see why someone would say, I'll just go down this hill right here, because there did appear to be a little path. So here's what they said. He was staying at the Hampton Inn in Greensboro, Pennsylvania, because he was performing later that day at the Palace Theater in downtown Greensburg. Many people are confused as to why he'd be staying at a Hampton Inn, but that's one of the only hotels in the Greensburg area. The only other option would be an hour drive away in Pittsburgh. Jay wanted to eat at the nearby Dino's Sports Lounge, a popular area eatery that specializes in buffalo chicken wings, prior to the show. To walk to Dino's, you'd either have to walk 750 feet on the road, not a mile and a half, as Jay mentioned, or you could shave off 350 feet if you walk down the grassy hillside. Jay noticed a dirt path worn into the hillside, as is common around the Pittsburgh area, so he attempted to take the shortcut and walk down the hill. Since the path was rough, not maintained, and eroded away, he tripped and rolled down the hill, hitting his head on the exposed rocks and earth on the way down. Jay was remarkably accurate, as he estimated the hill to be about 60 feet. After measuring, the hill is 56 feet from top to bottom.
So we're now believing that Jay Leno did indeed fall down the Dino's Hill.
Well, I think this helps. Yes.
Okay.
But I still don't really know how you can get a bruise on your face that bad from hitting the ground.
Just that one
or
side.
Or even a rock.
I don't know.
Like, it's just, it's his whole side of his face.
It does seem a bit odd. But, I mean, I guess this is a little more believable. And by the way, I'm looking at Dino's menu. It looks like they have a delicious pot pie. And I do like a good pot pie. If you're asking me, hey, am I willing to go down a hill for a quality pot pie? The answer is yes. But maybe not if I'm old-ass wobbly Jay Leno. You got specialty fries? All right. Go Dino's. Yeah, I'm seeing here the
there
photo.
There are also a lot of people posting photos of the hillside.
Yeah.
It is not treacherous.
No, the one, and by the way, I'm calling fake news because the people that were taking photos last week we were talking this, they made it sound like that thing was like, the photos they were showing, it was like there's no way someone went down this. I can see why someone would go
they
down
showed
this
the
hill.
wrong photos.
They showed the wrong photos.
It was fake news.
It was fake news. This looks like a gentle slope that
you could fall.
Yes. Look, and I'm going to be honest.
And you would roll a little bit. But it doesn't look like there's any rocks. It looks mown.
Yes.
You know, so it's like
mowned?
What is that the right word? Mowed? It looks mowed.
It's mown.
Freshly shorn.
It is freshly mown.
Moaning earth.
But they said it was not that easy to walk down, and so they went and did the homework. It's believable.
I love that someone's out there doing this sort of research. And I will admit, had I been staying at the Hamptons Inn and I was like, hey, I want a pot pie, and the option was walking around or I would 100% go down that.
100%. Yeah, I agree with you.
There's no way I'm walking around that thing.
It seems
I'm
like
going
an
down
easy shortcut.
Yes. But you do got to take into account, was it wet? Because I'll tell you this, I'm not going down a wet hill.
Or dark.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's dark or not.
Because you're going down a wet hill, you know what you're asking? You're asking to step in mud. You're just
asking to slip and then have the mud on the backside, and that's all bad.
It's all about the conditions, low-level light, what sort of moisture I'm dealing with, whether or not I'm drunk, which I'm still going to go ahead and assume that Jay Leno indeed was drunk.
100%.
I'd like to think that...
Didn't you say he doesn't drink, though? He's like sober?
Well, that's what the internet says, but I
don't know.
I tell you what, there's someone close to your noted newsman here who actually...
drinks with Jay Leno?
No, he actually has a friend who was a nurse for Jay Leno in the first fall.
Yeah.
And they are reporting to me that he is a raging drunk.
See, that makes more sense.
Yeah, okay.
Now that I don't know if that's true,
But that adds up more.
but there are conflicting reports out there about his what he likes to do with his spare time.
I would also like to point
How
out,
about
too, that at 74 years old, you should not be going down any hill. You just shouldn't. I think at 74, a curb should be maybe, hey, is there a way to go around this curb? You're 74 years old. That's significant. I also can at least say this. When I drink, I'm well aware when I get to the point where all my faculties are not there. And I would think that me drinking would make me less likely to go down the hill. If I'm sober, I'm probably looking at that hill being like, I got this. You put you got 12 old fashions in me, and I'm probably being like, I don't know if that's the best idea. Maybe I should go around. So something still isn't adding up to me on this one. Jay Leno is not being forthcoming. But
perhaps we need to get you on a flight to Pittsburgh and
get down there.
Conduct some interviews.
Head to Dino's.
Maybe look for some...
you at least need to try the pot pie.
Yeah, I would like to try
Get you a pot pie. Maybe look for the surveillance video.
That bruise, though. I cannot get over...
It looks like someone took a metal cafeteria tray and hit him across the face with it.
Yes.
And why would he only be hurt on his face and not his...
anywhere else?
Old body.
Dude, that thing is...
Joints, limbs.
He looks like he's got a port wine stain on his face. It's that big. That just... Oh.
Right.
Seems...
Well...
The hill is more believable, but I still find the whole story suspicious.
Coming up next, the latest $12,000 cosmetic surgery that people are having.
I can't wait.
What do you think they're changing?
For $12,000, it better be something pretty kick-ass for $12,000.
All right. Well, we'll see if you think it's kick-ass.
Right.
Next on The Fan.
And one time at Camp Randall,
Lock. Back to throw. Sets. Throw.
official beer of cheap fun.
Double Sun Power!
Every now and then, Twitter just does something fantastic. Because I was doing the whole Jay Leno Hill thing, and two dudes just posted a photo of themselves making out at the bottom of the hill. And for some reason, they tagged Conan O'Brien in it. Because, Conan O'Brien and Jay Leno famously don't get along because, well, Jay Leno is a bastard. They said, hey, Conan, don't worry, we're the first two gay guys to kiss at the bottom of the hill that effed up Jay Leno. We love you. It's just a photo of them making out at the bottom of the hill. God bless the internet sometimes.
That's cute.
That is cute. What if they're not the first gay couple to make out at the hill that effed up Jay Leno, though?
Yeah, how do they even know that?
It's kind of a bold statement.
How can you report that?
It could be more fake news. I'm waiting for someone else to be like, and then like have a photo from 2 years ago of another gay couple making out and been like, first.
Well, I think that before it would not have been the hill that Jay Leno fell down. Now it is. So.
Well, it'd still be the hill. Just it hadn't
I think
done
they're
it yet.
saying it was no counties before that. Because you know what? I bet somebody did make out there.
And also, if you're Jay Leno and you started is there a worse feeling than when you're like, yeah, here, like you start to fall and there's no way to recover? Like it's just, we've all been there.
Ow!
You're like, oh no.
Have you ever taken a huge fall like that? Like a big one?
Nothing like that. Nothing where it was significant where I'm rolling down some hills. I told you, I've told the story about how I fell in the ice in Sisters and had to lay in the road for a bit. And I just felt humiliated because I'm like, traffic is waiting for me to clear my carcass.
Hey, that's where this drop came from.
I ate ass. I did. Hard. I mean, this morning I was walking my dog and, sometimes in the morning stuff starts to percolate and I kind of had to hurry home. You ever have one of those where you're like, look, I need to get home and I need to get home now. So I was kind of ushering him along. I was like maybe half a block from the house and we're like, we need to speed this up, buddy. And so I was kind of hurrying with him and he's trying to stop and sniff things. And the sidewalk around my house, they're kind of raised because it's an older and tree stumps have kind of grown up. And I caught my foot and I about went down. I did the whole full on stumble and I caught myself. I didn't go down, but I did have that fear of, dude, if I went down in that moment, I'm not certain that not only wouldn't I have gone down, but there may have been an accident as I tried to recover from going down. And whatever deity kept me upright, thank you. Because that could have been a very embarrassing situation. Trip, fall, and soil yourself while on the ground. It was not good. But luckily, avoided disaster, got home, took care of business. But that feeling when you start to trip and you have to do the wide hand, like brace yourself, it's a terrible feeling. Especially when you're 74 and going down a hill. And you probably didn't get your pot pie at the bottom of the hill for Jay Leno.
Yeah, they said that the restaurant never saw him that night.
Yeah.
He didn't make it.
Yeah. When your face looks like that,
Too busy getting beat up by the mob.
Probably.
So what do you guys think? $12,000 cosmetic surgery. This is the new thing.
Men or women?
Could be either.
Okay. So it's not like up top.
It's popular with vain people.
Yeah.
So it could be either.
I'm trying to think of what would be new because the butt lift would not be for men. The up tops, right? That's exclusive.
Something silly like earlobes or something like that.
It is not covered by insurance.
Well, none of this is covered
and
by insurance.
There are a growing number of people having it, but several physicians are warning against it. This is in a Wall Street Journal article.
I'm trying to think of what. Yeah,
think about a
what
feature,
they would warn against that could be dangerous.
Yeah,
think about a feature that people often. It's one of the first things you notice on a person.
Are we going like some sort of turkey neck thing?
No.
Ooh. Well, I mean, I feel like around the eyes, nose, and lips are all kind of been done.
Okay, have they?
Oh,
have
I
they?
don't know.
Have they?
So what are we?
You're on the right track.
What are we doing here? Well, it's clearly something with the face now.
It is.
Can people get their eye color changed?
There you go.
Oh.
You nailed it. How about Ryan Buckley right there?
Really?
Off the top rope.
20 questions
Yes.
Can you just wear contacts?
What?
Like, your eye color, just wear contacts, right?
No, so it's called keratopigmentation.
This sounds like a terrible idea.
It involves injecting dye into the cornea.
Oh, yeah.
To change eye color.
What could possibly go wrong? We did a story a number of years ago where some dumbass goth kid got their eyes tattooed. Not the cornea, but the white part of their eyes.
Yeah.
And shocking, they went blind. They thought it'd be badass to tattoo the white part of their eyes like green or something to look like a lizard. And they went blind. Good move.
What?
So this is injecting dye into your eye?
Into your cornea.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
So people have shared various reasons for wanting to change their eye color. One person said that they wanted to change one eye color to match their Siberian Husky's eyes. You know, because they have the two colored eyes.
The two colors.
So now we're paying $12,000 to match our dog. Just get
That's
a cute,
right.
get a cute little shirt or scarf. You don't need to do the eyes.
The others want to feel more confident about their looks. Others want to look more like their family members. It only takes about an hour and a half. The results are immediate and irreversible.
Boy, $12,000 to change the color of your eyes.
The doctor that does it, he is in New York. He's an ophthalmologist. He said that he charges $12,000 per surgery, and he said he's on track to do over 500 of those this year.
All right, can I get in the eye color change business? How do I?
Yeah, how do we buy stock?
Yeah, how do I get a hold of that? Because that seems like the greatest scam of all time. $12,000 and I can do 500 of them? Let's go. How long do those things take? I mean, you just shoot and die into it.
Like you said, it takes about an hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
Side effects include vision loss, temporary light sensitivity, and bacterial or fungal infection. Now, this is something that is out there and has been for people who have injured eyes or diseased eyes. Like it can give patients the appearance of an iris if they have like cloudy corneas from an infection or something.
Yeah.
So this is something. This is not new. But now this doctor's just like, oh yeah, I'll do it for you. You want it? Give me $12,000. I'll shoot that in there.
Now I'm looking at some before and afters, and let me just say, for the record, it does look kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean,
and
that's
you can
pretty
see why
badass.
people would want it.
Yeah.
Because your eyes, like, I mean,
like
they pop.
The husky thing is kind of weird. I don't know if that would like fade.
Max Scherzer has that in real life.
Yeah, like I'm looking here at a hot that's got one brown and one really blue eye. That looks pretty cool.
It's unique.
And there's another color they're calling magical gray. It's pretty kick-ass. It makes you look like something out of like Lord of the Rings. But like 12,
it's a little much.
It seems a bit much.
A little much.
And then you wonder, like, you've got magical gray eyes. Like, after a year, is that like when you got into your Creed phase? Like, you're like, now I'm stuck with, like, magical gray eyes.
What is the worst eye color? Like, what color of eye?
No one wants brown.
Yeah, the brown eyes are just kind of...
Yeah, well,
I thought you meant what's the worst to get. Like if somebody said,
No.
I wanted pink, and then I don't like that a year later.
No, I'm saying like natural eye
No one
color.
wants brown eyes.
Yeah.
Because that's the most common color, and everyone poo-poos brown. Because everyone wants
Yeah.
the big, bright blue eyes.
At least there's a song.
Oh, yeah. You're a brown-eyed girl.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, like, if you, like, you know, the idea of someone being with a darker complexion with light eyes is like, I mean, that's like the most magical thing in the world to people. I mean, my kids are all bitter because they're half Asian, and I have like green eyes, and my kids are all like, we have lame brown eyes. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. Blame mom for that.
Tell them about this surgery. You can pay for it. Big radio money.
It's a bit out of my pocket there.
Yeah. So there's
but
really...
If I had a bunch of money, and I do have colored eyes, so I'd be fine. But if I had a ton of money and you said it was safe, when looking at those results, I can see why people would do this.
Well, why not just get contacts?
I know, but that's
you
not,
can do that.
Yeah, but that's not permanent, and then you're probably dealing with it, and contacts are uncomfortable. And
Well, they're not really that uncomfortable. I've worn them in my life. They're just kind of a pain to pop in and out.
I think color contacts are different. I think
Are
they
they?
screw with you. Yeah, because like people on sets of movies, when they do those, I think colored contacts do kind of beat you up a little bit. But it's like anything else. I mean, we will not stop until we think every piece of us is fake.
It's kind of like making your own image like AI.
Yes.
Yeah,
You know, like making it AI in real life or something.
But you're right. Like if you have dark skin complexion and you get those big poppin' blue eyes.
Oh, it looks amazing.
Dude, people will be like,
Yeah.
"What are you?"
The best looking human being I've ever seen in my life was when
Can
we
I
were
procreate
when we were in Belize. He looked like a smaller Jason Momoa, and he ran a dive shop, and he had he had the dark skin, and he had the bluest eyes you've ever seen. I would have slept with him. I was like, oh my God.
I was going to ask if you made out.
And the dude was like in ridiculous shape, and he's a spear fisherman, scuba diver dude out of Belize.
Pretty hot.
And I looked at this guy, and he's just sitting there with his shirt off, and you're looking at him, you're like, you are the best looking human being on the planet. And
take off your shirt and throw me.
And there is an element of that it was the first thing you noticed about him was how dark his skin was and how bright his eyes were. You're like, wow. So, I mean,
you get some of that kind of like olive Mediterranean skin with like a bright green pop. That's really nice too.
Yeah, it works. They always say that, like, I guess in Asian countries, it's the old, if you're an Asian with green eyes, you're like royalty. It's like the stuff of
it's
myth.
like you were kissed in the womb or something like
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Now we're kissing wombs?
Now we're kissing wombs.
Yeah, that's right.
Grief.
Basically, I think we've all come around, and now we all want the $12,000 color surgery.
You know, it seems kind of cool. But I don't want a needle in my eye, so no thanks.
No, I don't either.
Yeah,
Brown eyes, 45%. That's the most common.
Yeah.
Blue eyes, 27%. Hazel eyes, 18%. And green eyes, 9%. And there is a 1% factor for other eye colors, which I want to know what that is.
So I'm the rarity here, huh?
What did you say yours are?
I got green.
Yeah, they're only green is of the four main colors, green is the least prevalent at 9%.
No, mine are
But it also says here that most people with green eyes. Oh wow, look at this! It says most people with green eyes belong to a gay beat-up club.
That's what I hear, and small penises too.
Wow.
I'm gay. I'm gay. I'm gay. Tough. I hate ass, but I'm very popular there. So.
Yeah, you are very popular there. I bet you are.
The big bear, he comes rolling in there.
Big hairy bear.
Let's
Just
go. Google largest penis in the world, and the dude pops up.
Well, I advise against. As your doctor, I advise against this. Okay.
Even though it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's the name of it again? What's the name of the procedure? Someone in the YouTube chat asking.
It is called.
Someone's like, wait a minute.
Let me see about this.
Where did I put that?
You said it was like kerato something like.
Yeah, keratopigmentation.
There you go.
That's what's up.
Just shove it. And you know what's you know what this is gonna lead to? Guaranteed. It's like the Brazilian butt lifts and the Botox. This is coming to a Hampton Inn near you, where someone's gonna be running like a $9.99 special, and they're gonna be doing this.
Doing an under the table kind of a deal.
Under the table. Yeah.
Yeah.
For $1,000, you get a room at the Hampton Inn, and
they start doing it in prisons.
Yeah. You know this. You know that's where this is going.
Okay, we've got to address something that's been out there for a week or so, but boy, what even is art? That's next. Here's Buck.
Bud Light presents a rivalry week
This has been.
But it finally sold.
Okay.
Well, a version of it sold.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, a banana and duct tape, anybody can do that.
It does feel a little odd that I can duct tape an old banana on a wall and it means nothing, but someone else can duct tape a banana on a wall and it's worth a lot of money.
Yeah, I guess it depends on who duct tapes the banana to the wall.
And when you say, or I guess when we say a lot of money, like you may think duct taping a banana to a wall, a lot of money may be $100, $1,000, $100,000. Wrong. Yes.
It sold.
Yeah.
At Sotheby's. I'm serious. It is just a banana, a real banana.
Yeah.
Purchased for what they said was 35 cents. And it is one piece of duct tape over it to a wall. It sold at Sotheby's at an auction recently for $6.2 million.
You are correct, sir.
And I'm not even kidding.
When this first happened, it only sold for $120,000.
Yeah.
And somehow
that's all.
Yeah, well,
seems like a lot as well.
It does seem odd though that like when this was first done, 120 grand for a banana duct tape to a wall, you're thinking, "Oh my god, how dumb can you get?" $6.2 million. That's how dumb you can
So the yellow banana fixed to the white wall with silver duct tape is a work entitled Comedian.
Yeah.
It is by Italian artist Maurizio Catalan.
Hey, Maurizio. We're doing the Tommy Cutlets now. Hey.
Maurizio. It first debuted in 2019 as an edition of 3 Fruits at the Art Basel Miami Beach Fair, where it became a much-discussed sensation. Was it a prank?
No.
Was it a commentary on the state of the art world? Another artist took the banana off the wall and ate it. A backup banana was brought in. Selfie-seeking crowds became so thick that Comedian was withdrawn from view, but 3 editions of it sold for between $120,000 and $150,000. So now, its estimated value is over $1 million, and then it goes to auction at Sotheby's November 20th, and it sold for $6.2.
It's unbelievable.
The guy who bought it is a man.
He should be shot. Who is he?
He's a crypto bro, and his name is Justin Sun, or Sun, S-U-N. He is the founder of the Tron blockchain network. He paid in Bitcoin, and he said, "This is not just an artwork. It represents a cultural phenomenon that bridges the worlds of art, memes, and the cryptocurrency community. I believe this piece will inspire more thought and discussion in the future and will become a part of history." He reportedly told the auction house he planned to eat the banana.
All right. So
he ate his art.
You bought it for $6.2 million. Well, I guess it's because how long before the banana just rots? So...
Well, they're saying that the artist said, Maurizio, he said that the bananas were always meant to be replaced regularly along with the tape.
So your art is just an idea of a rotating banana being taped onto the wall.
So he spent $6.2 million for the idea of rotating duct tape and a banana, whereas the rest of us could just take
Any
banana
duct tape.
and duct tape.
But
and
it's
do
not
it.
the real banana and duct tape. Because the head of the house said, what you buy when you buy his Comedian is not the banana itself, but a certificate of authenticity that grants the owner the permission and authority to reproduce this banana and duct tape on their wall as an original artwork by Maurizio Catalan.
Boy, I would tell you what. If I was some poor bastard, just like in a foreign country or even here, just living day to day, couldn't eat, this is the sort of thing that would make me stab someone in the throat. I would go find the guy that bought this and shank him. $6.2 million for the certificate that says that any banana I tape to the wall with any duct tape, Chiquita or non-Chiquita, that is now an original Maurizio. Hey! God.
Those are not serious people playing with fantasy money in a fantasy land. It's unbelievable.
So there's a woman quoted in here. She says, if Comedian is just a tool for understanding the insular capitalist art collecting world, it's not that interesting of an idea. But she thinks it might go beyond poking fun at rich people. He is often thought of as a trickster artist, she said, but his work is often at the intersection of the sort of humor and the deeply macabre. He's quite often looking at ways of provoking us, not just for the sake of provocation, but to ask us to look into some sort of darker part of history and ourselves.
Isn't he also just asking to make a lot of money too?
He's also just asking us to believe it's more than a banana.
Can you believe that? That dude made well, I don't know. I guess he made the money, $6.2 million, by just going and
in the commission and all that. But yeah,
but by going and buying a banana and putting well, first of all, he's an established artist.
Yeah.
So that much we do.
Because it's not like anybody can just go have that idea and make $6.2 million. Otherwise, we do it.
Exactly. It mattered that it was his idea, and he put that up there, and he now made. I mean, that you want to talk about a grift?
Yeah.
I give you that.
Well, I mean, I would have told you that. I mean, he's been grifting along. He sold. He took a horse, and and he had it taxidermied.
Oh no! Oh no!
So and then he took that and he suspended it from a ceiling.
Oh no! Oh no!
$2 million.
Really?
Yeah.
Just for the idea of stuffing a horse and hanging it?
It was called the Ballad of
God.
Yeah.
You know who's most disgusted by
Me.
this? Buck.
Yeah, it's stupid. I could do that.
Yeah, he just took a horse. It sounds like it was just a random horse.
You're no Maurizio.
And he had it stuffed,
You
and
have
then he
no
hung
idea.
it from he hung it from some ropes, and yeah, it sold for $2 million, dude. And that's my point: is how do you get to be this douche canoe where you can sell like? It's like when I see clothing brands. It's the same thing. Like you see a white T-shirt and it's $9 at Kohl's, and then you see another white T-shirt and it's $500. How do you get to be where you can sell your T-shirt for $500 and not $9? How do you get to where a stuffed horse is worth $2 million and God forbid a banana and duct tape is worth $6?
Yeah, I think you got to get into the right. You got to display it at the right areas, right?
Yeah.
Where all the snooty art people come. You know.
I guess, by the way, his stuffed horse, it was a big deal because someone then did a fake stuffed horse, and it got thwarted. But yeah, there were.
But this was a real horse.
This was
How dare somebody else try to rip off that genius idea?
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's wild out there.
Just go stuff some stuff. I'm gonna stuff a beaver and hang it from the ceiling.
Yeah, see, that's not original.
No.
No.
It's better than a horse.
Why?
Stuffed beaver.
No, it's not. You're just following Maurizio. See, this is why you're no Maurizio.
Damn it.
Come up with a real idea. Something that makes us think deeply.
I'm just reading
about our awful nature.
Yeah, that's true. That's not provocative enough.
I am reading through his other works, and it's something else.
So, what is art?
This.
Apparently, we don't know.
It's a banana.
It's all in the eye of the beholder, isn't that what they say?
guess.
Okay, we got a break. We'll wrap it up next on The Fan.
It's time for Who's Leading the Charge? A look under the hood at the coaches, players, and teams getting it done. Brought to you by Battery Exchange.
So, buy your season tickets. Let's make that every single week of next year. Because why would you not want to be in that environment? That was one of the most fun places to be in college football. Why would you not want to do that every Saturday? All it is the fan base saying this is what we choose to do. So buy your tickets, donate to keep our team, right? And let's repeat next year, and let's try to run it back at home. Thank you. Go Devils. Activate the Valley, baby.
There's your boy.
Dilly.
Kenny Dillingham.
That dude's got a lot of energy. I thought it was really poor form at the end of the game, but for the most part, I really like what he's doing at ASU.
All right. Well, on that note, who's leading the charge? Powered by Battery Exchange. Mention code BXT10 at checkout for 10% off your entire purchase this month. Online at batteryexchange.com.
The home of Dirt and Spray.
The only question is, do they beat Washington by triple digits? 20.5 points. Quadruple digits?